If you've ever left your keys in your car and then subsequently spent the morning looking for them, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Happy Friday. We are back for another episode of Live Trading. Ryan's got a little extra pep in his step because Ryan woke up to a blanket of snow in the Chicago area. It looks absolutely awesome. And Ryan also booked some time at a heated driving range tomorrow, so the snow won't even get in the way of my golf. But before then, we've got some money to make. Let's do it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks, you know what time it is. It is time for your favorite show. Live trading begins right now. Let me go ahead and bring on my main man, 13. 13, how you doing today, dude?
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's Friday, so there's all the reason to have pep in your step.
You got that right. The snow is just one extra thing for Rhino. Let's get to it. Here is a look at the SPY. I tell you what, 13, one of the things that we have been talking about, the low volume, that is exactly what we've been getting. I'm expecting more of the same here today. In fact, the movers scanner that we often get some of these small plays a little bit slow today, but we will try and find some plays to make here. I got two setups on bigger stocks that I'm going to be focusing on here today. Thinking about it, saying, Ryan, you should have held that Tesla short. Thinking about it in hindsight, you are absolutely right. Tesla is plunging here today. The only thing I will say about that is that the plan for that particular trade was a day trade, so I executed the plan. Now, looking at the price here, of course, looks like Tesla sold off again here today. But we might be able to trade that again today. So that is also going to be one of the setups. Now, as far as SPY goes here, 13, we are kind of still executing the pattern that we've talked about. I know we came in a little bit. We're a little bit weak here this morning. Maybe we come back in a little bit more. You got any levels on the SPY that you're looking for here today?
Well, what I was looking for yesterday was a new high and then a close beneath the previous day's high. Didn't get the close beneath the previous day's high, but that could be on deck today. In following with that pattern that we've been seeing with how the SPY's been making its moves up, we should see a little bit of coming back in today. I would imagine, at least after we had that nice run recently. And just kind of consolidate a bit before we try to take the next leg up. That's been the repeating pattern. So as far as levels go today, we in the pre-market, we did come down to some of the after hours trading from that the day before yesterday. That's been providing some support. So that's going to be the first level I'm going to look for the SPY to break down at. It's about 521.30. So right about there, I'm going to see if we can hold that. If not, we get the downside, then we'll probably start going under 520.
That sounds pretty good to me. That 521, I'm looking at the top of this last green candle here. I've got that value at 520.62. I think if that gap gets filled here, there might be a potential that we bounce, but let's see if we actually trade back into the range of this last green candle from March 20th here. All right. Anything else on the SPY?
No, but I did see Jay Rice had a nice comment about Goldman Sachs, and you had brought up Goldman Sachs. So what did we talk about that? Because you were talking about this breakout that it's having.
Indeed, and it would appear that great minds think alike here on Goldman Sachs. You take a look at Goldman Sachs here. We are approaching, I believe this is an all-time high breakout. Yes, so if you take a look at the weekly and the monthly, it actually shows the exact same thing. Daily is obviously a little bit more spaced out. We have a potential all-time high breakout here above 425 on Goldman Sachs. Current price here is 413. You can see the last couple of days have broken us out of the sideways range here on Goldman Sachs. We actually have some elevated volume despite the market being kind of low volume here. So Goldman Sachs is interesting. It's actually been a while since I've traded this one. This is a great stock to use options to trade. I mean, you can even if you don't want to risk a whole lot, you can grab just a handful of calls, and the moves on this stock can be big enough for that trade to be really, really great. So I do like Goldman Sachs. I am kind of watching this. I do have a little bit of a guess, conservative nature when it comes to the financials. The trade has been very difficult, and this is not my wheelhouse. This is not my specialty. But looking at this chart here, this sure looks pretty juicy. You had referenced Jay's comment here. Take a look at the Goldman Sachs chart, then look at LNC. What do you see? Multi-day week breakouts. Talked this LNC a few times at the 26, 27 level. So again, Goldman Sachs setting up here. The stock that Jay wants to compare this to here is going to be Lincoln National. And sure enough, this is what Jay's talking about. There's this consolidation that's been going on. Jay, you're right, for months at this point. It's more than just weeks. It's been going on for months. LNC now breaking out of that. I'd be curious to know, what do you have as the next spot up here on LNC? I would imagine this 34.62 at the 500-day moving average, and then maybe 36.50 on LNC here. But you're right, Jay. This looks very, very similar. I guess I would say, how do you look to play this going forward? Right? How do you look to play this going forward? A couple of other stocks that we want to kind of take a look at here. First one's going to be CCJ. Remember, this was another swing trade that we took. The CCJ here trading up. I had this off this 200-day bounce. I really want to see some of these moving averages get taken out and go higher here on CCJ, but this one's working. The other one here is going to be VKTX. We traded this, or I was still long this one, looking for the floating island move back towards 100. Well, I want to see what the candle actually forms here today. I know we kind of pulled back. We've got these two top wicks here on VKTX. I told you yesterday that I'm certainly not going to let this trade go red on me, and that's absolutely the case. So if we have some weakness here today, we might look to book gains and then set up for another trade. Just before we get into some of the movers here, let's actually do some of the bigger stocks first. I do, because
I have a thought on some of these bank stocks, just because I'm looking around. I own a couple of these larger ones like JP Morgan, Bank of America. I'm looking at those, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, all the really big banks. They're at 52-week highs. They're very extended. I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen with some of these, because it looks like this could be a good time to take some profits. And I don't want to suggest that they're about to just reverse and go way down, but up here, I don't want to add. I want to sell.
Okay, so there you go. So you're actually not looking to take new long trades here on the banks. You don't like them for buys up at this resistance area?
No, up at these levels. They're 52-week highs. Their RSI is very high. This is where I would want to be selling out of those. Not completely, but just maybe taking some profits.
Sure, trimming the position and booking some of those gains. Totally get it. Okay, let's talk about some of the setups here for today. We're going to use Trade the Pool's broker in order to actually trade these. As a reminder, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool, best prop firm out there. Huge pool of stocks to trade. Never a shortage of different things to trade. If you need to get over that 25K buying power, this might be your way out. And if you need more buying power, this also might be a solution for you. We do have some stocks that are on watch here today. First one here is going to be Tesla. Now, the thing here about Tesla is that these 4 levels that you see above where the current price is, these were levels that we had already added before. The only level that I added here today is this bottom one. So we're keeping some of the previous levels here. We're going to do the exact same thing. Does it break out of this 168? Does it break down from 165.5? Does it give us a retest? This is the setup that we're looking for here on Tesla. The setup has actually been fairly easy to trade recently, so I look to end the week strong before increasing size next week. Tesla is one of those on a setup. The next one here is going to be Lulu. Now, Lulu, couple of things here. So first of all, Lululemon definitely has a channel here. Lulu reported earnings and warned last night of perhaps a weaker U.S. consumer going forward here. Now, the big drop in Lulu is fine. If you obviously were inputs from yesterday, today is a pretty big payday. The one thing about Lulu here is that the 200-day moving average is actually 421. So this stock sold off and plunged right through the 200-day. In terms of a long side trade here, I think it really needs to recapture that 200-day, and then it needs to show it can stay over it. So we're also going to need some closes above that 200-day. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and day trade this the same setup, right? We're going to look for which end of this range gets violated. Do we get an entry trigger on this? And then we can actually take this either long or short. The values I have here, 433.25 to the upside and 413 to the downside. So we'll see here on Lulu. This is another one of those setups. The last one that I have here is going to be another earnings report. This is going to be FedEx. They reported earnings last night. We've got a top end of the range here at 300 and the bottom end of the range here at 289.50. So we're going to be looking to see which end of this range breaks down.
Well,
so those are my three setups, and I'm going to be looking for predominantly. What do you got, 13?
Well, for FedEx, that looks like it's going to come down, in my opinion, and here's why. It's very extended on the RSI, so we have some overbuying here. But at the same time, despite the good news, the good report that this had, and the EPS and the share repurchase, I think that kind of tells us that they're expecting this to go down. Whenever we have these companies that are authorizing these new share repurchase programs, to me that's bearish, because they're not going to buy the stock when their prices are these highs at these valuations. They're going to wait for it to come in. So, and that just because they're authorizing a program doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. It could take months or years for them to complete that repurchase program. And so to me, that's just an indication that they're looking for a cheaper price to pick up their shares and maximize that share repurchase program as much as they can. So I'm looking for downside in FedEx, in the coming months.
Okay, we'll see if we end up getting that here in FedEx. Again, I would prefer to trade this to the short side. I would like for this to break down here today, because that's kind of the way I think we're going to get more juice. I mean, we already had a huge up move, so if we break the up end of that channel, it might actually feel a little bit more heavy. So I'd hope for this to be a move down for Lulu. I almost kind of want this one to bounce, but we'll see here. FedEx, my primary target. FedEx, my primary target for the day trade here today. Okay. You want to go and review some of the movers?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's go ahead and do that. Here is my chart. Let's take a look at the movers. These are going to be your gappers here today. 13, this was the first one that you mentioned here to me today. I think this one might be a better target for us to chase. That's the word that I'm looking for here. This is ticker NVFY. This is Nova Lifestyle. There was no news here this morning, so this appears to just be trading up on technicals here. Looks like 350 on the top end of the range here. We'll see if we end up breaking down 280 to the downside. We'll see if we end up getting that type of move here. What did you see on NVFY that has you looking at this today?
So this is interesting to me, because we've talked before about how well builders are doing, and even Jay mentioned home builders doing really well earlier in the chat. But this is an interesting play, because this is a home furnisher. So home sales report, this started moving up on the sentiment that, okay, well, people are buying homes, they're going to need to furnish it. And this is where one of the companies that could stand to benefit from it. So that was the news yesterday. What's moving this today is because we had a relative volume change, because it usually trades like well under 1 million shares, and yesterday we got over that. So today we're seeing a relative volume trade off of that. This has 1.2 million shares, and they actually did a reverse split last year back in May. But I don't really think that's as impactful, but it does help with the float size. I think that's why this is moving, and I think that's a pretty interesting stock. Not that I would want to hold it for a long time, but it's just one of those plays that you didn't think about when that report came out. And now that you see this, it's something that you want to remember for next time.
And it is actually trading right up to the top end there. Joe, I think you're totally right. I think that this might be the stock du jour here for the day. So we'll see. One question I wanted to address here right now, Hutchie, that's a pretty dog. Do you already own FedEx, or got to place orders later possibly? This is actually a good question. I'm sorry if I covered that too quickly on FedEx. I do not own that, right? So I wouldn't be giving you a trade idea from something that I was long from yesterday. I don't really think that helps, especially if that's around an earnings print. So what I'm doing today for the FedEx setup is I'm saying, okay, given that we have no position and given that we just had this catalyst, what's the trade going forward here? So I have no existing position in FedEx. If we do end up taking that here for a trade, the time horizon for that trade will be a day trade, which means my intention is to close that trade here at some point today. Good question, Hutchie. Sorry if I was not clear enough when I first went over that. Okay, great. You got that there. All right, next one here on the list is going to be ticker MRNO. This is Marano Global Investments. The stock up 131% here in the pre-market. This thing was as high as 44. I don't see any news on this. Last piece.
Merger.
Yes, I mean, well, what do you think on this? I mean, to me, this actually looks. I mean, I have no idea how to even play this. To be quite honest with you, we have no historical bars here. I'm not familiar with the company. I'm not familiar with what they do. How are you playing this one here today?
I'm not, to put it to you that way.
Okay, well, simply put, you're not. Got it.
I just wanted to look at. Well, this isn't one of the movers that I was interested in, but I did see that it was up quite a bit today. And that was because they just completed their merger. I forget the name of the company they were merging with, but it's in the news. This company is a real estate company that owns buildings in Mexico. So if you're looking for real estate exposure in Mexico, this could be a interesting company to play that with. But for me, what we see with these SPAC mergers is that they tend to end up selling off. They tend to de-SPAC. And that can unfold over months and years before it finds a bottom and then starts to turn up. So for me, I don't really want to even get involved with this because I think it's just going to end up going down. Now, might see some price action, fluctuate in between that time. But for me, it's just not something I'm interested in.
Yeah, stay away. That's going to be my approach here. Frankly, I think we've got some better setups and targets here today. So I'm gonna focus on quality over quantity, especially since the day is likely to be limited. Again, we're expecting fairly low volume here in the afternoon.
Sorry, I was just laughing at T squared. He recognized the shirt.
Oh, what is the shirt for?
Oh, this is so there's a very, very popular string of gas stations out here in Texas called Buc-ee's, and this is a New Year's shirt from there. They sell all kinds of stuff. You would absolutely have your mind blown with what they sell in these gas stations.
Hey, you look,
It's
I'm
amazing.
up for learning something every day. So, all right, add that to the list of things we got to do when I make it down to Texas 13.
There you go.
We got to check
We'll
out
go get gas.
there. See if there's any sponsorship or partnership going on there. Good to see you this morning, T Squared. Love having you here. Okay. I do want to quickly go over this. We're going to finish our discussion here with Reddit. I know a couple of people are mentioning Reddit here this morning. We'll finish with that one. I do want to quickly run through just a few more of these stocks that are gapping up here. The other one is going to be OTLK. This is Outlook Therapeutic. They're trading higher because the company announced it received a positive European Union CHMP opinion on one of their drugs here for the treatment for wet AMD. We're seeing a lot of commercials for wet AMD here stateside. In any case, OTLK, this popping from a 7 handle. This actually found some resistance here at 11, although it's done a good job holding 10. I expect if the volume holds here, this one also could be volatile here today. Again, with this up already 46.5%, be careful. Make sure that if you're going to take a long on this, that you've got some type of plan in case it goes against you.
That looks like a good bull pennant right there. But the news regarding that is so they can take a drug to market. Essentially, that's what the news is about, is that market authorization so that they can start selling one of their drugs. 17.8 million float. A little bit higher than we normally trade, but still easy to push around. They did have a bit of short interest here, 7.13% with 7.58 days to cover. So there could be a little bit of squeezing here in some of these levels. So that's something that we could watch for as well.
The other thing to keep in mind here with some of these days to cover values when they seem inflated is to actually take a look at what that 10-day average volume that is calculating that days to cover number. In this case, stock trades on average about 2 million shares. So I think that's actually a pretty sticky days to cover number there, 13. If this was less than 1 million shares, if it gets one day of good volume, it would really skew that days to cover. Not the case here in OTLK. So I agree with you. I think that this could have some squeezy type potential in there with this up, 52% now, almost 52.5%. Let's see if that gets rolling here. Excuse me, when the market actually opens. Okay, couple more smaller stocks that I really quickly want to run through. I know we've got less than 4 minutes until we open here, so I'll do it quick. GRDI, this is grid infrastructure. This did pop as high as 167. It's come back in. It actually looks weak coming away from the VWAP. Again, no new fresh news here on this one. If we take a look at yesterday's trading day, it was kind of nothing. So it just seems like this is kind of like just some volume flow here today. We'll see if this provides a trade, but kind of like what I was saying earlier, I have some better targets. You got anything here on GRDI?
No, I wasn't looking at this one this morning.
Yeah, I'm mentioning it because it's gapping. I'm not sure how great of a target it's going to be. Next one here is going to be FRSX. We've actually traded this one before. This has been a relative volume scanner play in the past. We are popping here this morning. If we take a look at the news, we actually do have a PR here on this one. Foresight, iNet, and SoftBank successfully combined technology validation phase for connected mobility applications in Japan. Okay, I guess that's great. Stock up 21% here. We'll see how great this catalyst is. I want to see what the volume looks like when the market actually opens. If you look at the pre-market here, we have elevated volume right from when we got the PR, and it's been drying up ever since. So I want to see if that changes.
Yep, they have a 10.8 million share float. They did a reverse split last year in April. Other than that, don't have a whole lot to go on, but I've been noticing that we're seeing a lot of these autonomous and LiDAR and anything kind of automated driving, having to do with automated driving. Those stocks have been getting some attention lately, and this is just another one of those. So starting to get curious about why we're seeing all of this autonomous driving excitement come back up again. If anybody knows, I'd be interested in exploring that. But I don't know if you've noticed that as well, but we have been seeing some of these car related, from back when the whole EV craze started. We've been seeing those come back up. So
I have noticed that. It's funny though. One of the things that I saw yesterday was someone complaining about their Tesla automated driving or autonomous driving. He said he's not going to use it anymore because what it keeps doing is it keeps curbing the rim, right? So when it's trying to park, it actually curbs the rim, and anyone that's replaced rims knows that rims are expensive, right? The actual wheel itself is expensive. It's even more expensive when you start factoring in the cost of the tire if that gets ruined. So I mean, look, I'm probably the wrong person to ask on this. I am in the camp where I am not excited at all to have cars drive for me. That is not something that I'm looking for. That is not something that I want. That certainly would not pay extra for that. So I might be not part of the target audience. So keep that in mind when I'm talking to you about some of this stuff. This is not for me. I like driving very, very much. I actually find it soothing in some cases. So this is not for me. Andy, good morning. And we're open. Really good timing there, Andy. All right, let me flip over to trade the pool. Let's go ahead and get this rolling. Let's take a look at some of these setups that we got here. Lulu, first move here is up.
Oh, and there goes NVFY. That's taking off. Hey, I got a split. I'll be back in about 30 to 40. Good luck, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll be right back. All right.
Okay, we will see you here pretty soon. Thanks, 13, for giving us the watch list at least. Lulu here breaking. Oh, I have to do this one, right? And then we have to switch it. Boom. All right, Lulu breaking here. We want to see this actually have like a clean break. Ideally, what I'd really like to see here is a clean break of the 413 and then a clean retest. We'll see if we end up getting it. When we looked at one of these setups before, I think it was on Apple. It just kept going, right? It didn't really give us any of those clean breaks. So we'll see here. VKTX, by the way, selling under 70 here. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. The other ones that we had here are going to be Tesla. Looks like this trading to the top end of the range. Let's see if that 168 ends up falling here. And WIS mentioning NVFY. Go ahead and flip over to that. We still need some time for some of these other setups. Here we go. This breaking that 350 that we talked about right away here. This going higher, currently at 390. Going to test 4. I've got the high print here of 399, a little bit of size above here at 4. This thing's moving. Nice volume right out of the gate here on this. OTLK being mentioned that is halted. Let's take a look here at OTLK. Okay, so this popped right out of the top end of that range, came right to the bottom and halted here. OTLK, good shout there. Danger Boy wants to take a look at Reddit. You know, I did want to try and save some time here for Reddit. Be curious to know, did any of you trade Reddit yesterday? Did you have success with it? Are you waiting for a particular level? Would love to hear the community's thoughts on Reddit. This is obviously a new issue here. So would love to hear how you guys are attacking this. For me, again, I gave you my thought on Reddit yesterday. This IPO seems too late. I'm not interested in this for investment. I have no position and I didn't trade it yesterday. But let me know. Let me know what you guys are doing on Reddit. The other one that I want to have here is FDX. Okay, so here we go. So it looks like, now I didn't see this initial candle here. FDX coming in. See if we can trade back up. If we bounce it all towards that 289.50, that would be our short entry here. Might have missed the boat. Let me check Tesla. Okay, Tesla, we went to the top end of that range here and was rejected. So we're still waiting for a setup there. That's good to know. Let's take a look back at Lululemon. This still holding the bottom end of the range there. Let's see on that one. Danger Boy, it's up to you. You want to trade Reddit? Go ahead. I am going to stay away from Reddit. I don't have any type of angle on Reddit, and I don't have an optimistic view for it. Jane, out NVFY at 413. Oh, I guess my thing is not working here. Let me see. System. Don't know why that's not working. Any case, Jane, register ring for you. Book those gains. Nice trade right out of the gate here. Kalu mentioning GNS. Kalu, I don't see enough volume here on GNS. We'd really like to see that pick up before this becomes a potential trade. All right, let's take a look at some of the other stocks that we had from the movers list. FRSX is going to be one of those. See what FRXS is doing. This popped back to the VWAP. Okay, GRDI was another one that we talked about. Didn't really like any of these GRDI on the lows here. Let's go back and take a look at some of the other setups that we have. FDX continuing to push away. Darn, probably should have watched that one from the open here. NVIDIA getting a mention here. What's NVIDIA doing? Okay, NVIDIA popping right off that pre-market low. You know, we've seen NVIDIA kind of pop, run into resistance, and then not firm up anymore. So it'll be interesting to see if NVIDIA gives us a play here today. Good news here. CCJ still rocking higher here. Jay, your uranium calls have been just absolutely fantastic. They really have. I don't think I'd be in this if you weren't talking about uranium all the time. So kudos to you. VKTX looks like we bounced off that initial flush. Okay, and I don't see anything green on my scanner right now. I guess that just changed. MRNO is one of those. Looks like this might be curling a little bit here. Let's see. VFF EKS is mentioning. Let's take a look at VFF. This looks like pretty low volume here, but this is curling up a little bit. How's Reddit doing? Okay, Reddit trying to scream higher here. Let's see what kind of. So our intraday high on the IPO day was what? We had that at what? 57, 57 and a half? It looks like 57 and a half, your intraday high there on Reddit. The first spot that I would need to see it get over is going to be this one right here. Let's call that 5150. Okay, 5150 upside resistance area here on Reddit. Remember, we only have 1 day worth of data in there, so be careful with that one. Let's take a look around at some of the other plays that we're waiting to set up here. Lulu, okay, looks like it tried to break here. Is it trying to go lower? Lulu, let me take a look at some of the other ones here. FDX continuing to move away. That might have been the trade right there. Tesla, let's see if this can break over 168 and back test it. Lulu, I mean, as far as taking a short here, I like that it's under the 200 day. That's definitely going to weigh on it. The one thing, though, is that yesterday, right before earnings, the stock is $482, and right now it's $411. So I feel like maybe some of that selling could be exhausted. We'll see if the selling actually kind of picks up here. Let me zoom in and see how we're interacting with this. Looks like we're kind of holding. I kind of want to take a stab at this. Maybe we'll do this small. Maybe we'll take a stab here small and see if we can go. Let's sell some right here. And let's see what we get here on Lululemon. This, I didn't actually wait for the setup. Part of the reason that I didn't wait as long as I probably should have is because if you take a look at FedEx here, it really started to move. Now, interestingly enough, FedEx coming back. Let's see if we can get back to that 289 here. And let's see if Lulu just completely snaps me here after shorting it on this break. See if Lulu can actually get a flush down. If I do get this to move in the direction that I want, probably a little bit quicker here just because took some risk a little bit early on Lululemon. 400, thinking about it, saying 400 is a nice round number on Lulu. Exactly. And I was actually kind of hoping that that 400 level would kind of act as a magnet, pull Lulu down. I'll be honest, from right here, if we trade down to 400, I would close the trade there and book those gains. So to your point there, 400 definitely a spot. I'd love to see the stock move to that spot. OTLK is open. Jay Summers, let's take a look at that. Looks like this continuing to move down here. Boy, this is snapping the bottom of that pre-market range. Now, we're not closing beneath it, but we did snap it here. So let's see on that. Danger Boy wants to take a look at AMD. Take a look at AMD here. Looking like this is kind of still having some price discovery here. We'll see here on AMD. This might try to go higher. What's the Qs doing here? Sorry, I have a different window up here. Qs were a little bit lower, but actually trying to bounce. So maybe this is kind of moving with that. We'll see here. Let's take a look here at Tesla. We're still being rejected by that 168 level. We'll be patient. Let's take a look at FDX here. Okay, bouncing back to that 289 level. Might actually take a short here as well. Let's take a look at Lulu. Okay, Lulu's starting to flush here. Awesome. Let's see if we can actually accelerate this on Lulu. I called the bottom on mRNA. I don't remember doing that. I don't like this company, so I don't remember making calls about it. But if I did, okay. Hopefully it helped you. Hopefully it helped you. I don't know. FDX here didn't quite get back up there. I don't want to. I want to focus on the plan here. I don't want to take too much extra risk. Let's see if we get another push up here in FDX. How's Tesla doing? Tesla's still rejected by that number. Okay. How's Lulu doing? That's the wrong ticker. That's LVLU. That's not going to help. Okay, Lulu's still hanging in there. Okay. What else do we have here? NVFY. Let's see what that is doing. I know some of you already booked gains on this one here. This looking like it's being traded above 4 there. Yeah, 421 came back in here. It's trying to retake 4. I actually see that they loaded up some more size there at 4. Ryan is rolling this morning. Sally, I just got to say, Friday vibes fueled by coffee. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Okay, so NVFY, this actually curling back up. Let's see if it goes to the top end of the range there. Jay Summers, in and out of OTLK. Nice job. Those are probably pretty fast trades here. Come on, Lulu. Let's see if we can speed this up here and get a close. Book these gains. Don't bounce on me here and just ruin this. Just keep selling off. Just keep doing it. FDX. Let's see. Okay, so we're getting back up there here on FDX. Let's see. We might actually have to take some of this too. If we get all the way back up there, 289.50 is what I'm looking for. We're only 70 cents away. Only 70 cents away. I don't actually know if we'll. Let's see. The buying volume here is slowing up, which I definitely like to see. But this price is coming back in. Now, did it actually touch that, or is this just... No, it didn't. Okay, so what was the high of that candle? High 288.98, so off by about 50 cents. I tell you what, you really can't... It's not even really that much. Looks like Lulu is bouncing here. Let's see. Okay. At this point with Lulu... I think the stop is going to have to be above that 413 level. Here we go, though. Looks like it's starting to kick up. It's right at that VWAP. If it gets rejected by that VWAP, we probably go lower here. Let me actually set a stop on this one. We're going to do it right above this level right here. Right above this level. There we go. That's actually... Okay, we'll see if this ends up holding here on Lulu. At least we have the downside protected. We'll let it continue to run if we actually get the direction that we're looking at. This should free up some mental capital to take a look at FedEx. We'll see if this setup ends up rolling. FedEx, again, 289.50, the spot that I'd really like to get. We'll see if I get that. We did get close already. GNS, did that start to get some volume, Clue, and start to move? Let's see. It's not really. Still holding in there. NVFY, did that move, Robert? Yeah, that actually, oh, look at that. That just printed that same area and came right back into the VWAP. An NVFY. And VFY also appearing on the relative volume scanner here. We kind of expected that. GRDI, one of the other small names that we talked about, this breaking down also on the relative volume scanner. Interesting, especially with it breaking down. Looks like maybe it just popped. FRSX, man, that is so, the S and the X together, hard for me to say. FRSX, this actually did come back to VWAP and is holding it. Some good looking buying volume here. I don't know if I trust this one. Some size right here at 132, 133. I suppose if that gets chomped, maybe this can go higher here. FRSX. AMTX being mentioned here by Smoke Tuna. Good to see you this morning, Smoke Tuna. AMTX pushing right out of the gate here. Boy, that 520 move right up to 576. Nice one there. Nice one there. Okay, let's take a look. What else? MRNO halt. MRNO halt. Okay, so this halted to the upside right ahead of that VWAP. Okay. Aren't we getting Fed notes? Didn't we just get the Fed meeting? Let me check the calendar here and see if there's something. Producer Alyssa, I know that you always create those economic events ones. I don't have the economic calendar handy. If you have that handy, do we have anything Fed related here today? Looks like 322. The only thing that I see here on my calendar is the vice chair supervision Barr speaks, and then Fed Chair Powell speaks. Interesting. Didn't he just speak yesterday? Today's Friday. That would have been the day before. In any case, I don't think so. Producer Alyssa, let me know if you do have something on that. mRNO above its VWAP here now. EKS mentioning Boeing. That's an interesting one. By the way, we are going to have Anne-Marie's option show after our live trading show here today. So if you want to ask any follow-up questions on that potential or on that Boeing trade, that will be the time to do so. Looks like Lulu here is continuing to move in our direction. This is what we wanted to see, EKS. Let's go. Jeremy, I botched my trade, but at least we average up to plus 10% for this month. Jeremy, we can't win them all. I'll be honest, it appears to me, at least from what I know here, you seem to have had a very processed approach this week, so you should be proud of that. Don't worry, we'll get them on the next trade. We'll get them on the next trade here. PRFX is what Kalu is asking about. Let me take a look at that one here real quick. I'm actually not familiar with that. So let's see. That's pain reform. I've never heard of this. No, I don't really see anything on that one there, Kalu. Don't really see anything there. All right, Lulu, let's come in another couple of bucks here. How about that? I'm also going to have to raise my stop eventually once we get a little bit more movement here, but I don't necessarily want to do that too early. I'd rather just book the gains. NVFY pushing up. Let's take a look at that. All right, we did break out of the top end of that. NVFY still has the juice. You know, the other thing that to keep in mind here, volume is still looking good. So even when we kind of pulled back here, volume really expanded again. New highs here. Let's see, the intraday high. I don't have it marked off on the ladder. That's going to be at what, 444, 443? A little bit of size there at 440. NVFY, this has been great so far. SPY is breaking down. SPY is, I know here, let me actually bring that up so we can have the visual aid so I don't just talk about it. All right, SPY, we did trade up right out of the open here, rejected. To me, the big spot here on the SPY is what's going to happen at 521 for those pre-market lows. Then we also gave you that gap zone. I think that was at 520.60 something. 13 might have had a 520.20 price in there, something like that. Let's take a look here at FDX. Okay, so looks like this setup was still pretty good. I know I missed it by just a little bit there, but that's okay. We're still rocking with Lulu here. Lulu short. Let's go ahead and watch that here. We might be at a spot. We're almost there. Love to see this break under 404 here. I remember thinking about it, gave us a potential zone to sell this around 400. Two things can happen at 400, right? We talk about the round numbers all the time, likely to bounce. The other thing is that if we snap that 400, it might actually accelerate. And you might get both, right? You might get a bounce and then a rollover retest snap. I'm just trying to play it for that first move down here on Lulu. This one working out at least. The setup has been great. Setup has been great so far. All right, Reddit, Kathy never fails. What is happening with Reddit, folks? Okay, Jay being a little bit of a smarty pants there. Reddit trying to trade up to this area that we identified yesterday right ahead of the close. Big time rejection. Lower we go here on Reddit. For whatever it's worth, the consensus amongst the happy hour group in the evening was that Reddit likely to go lower before it really makes some type of strong upside move. I don't know if you care about that or not, but that's what we're kind of looking at here on Reddit. Okay. AMTX was a nice place. Yes, it was. That's still going here. Smoke Tuna, you're on it. Lulu clearance. That's what I wanted to hear. Here we go. We're actually right at 400. We're actually right at 400. You know what we're going to do here? We're going to get ready to book these gains. Let's see. Okay. Coming back up here. Let's see if it rolls back over. And come on back down. Come on back down, Lulu. I love that. Lulu clearance. I wish there was clearance in the real stuff. That'd be awesome. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should check the website today and see. Let's see here. Okay, so Lulu, did it actually print 400s? I didn't actually see 400 prints. I saw it in the 400 handle, but I didn't see actually 400.00. Let's see if this breaks beneath 401. Okay, I'm just going to close it right here. We'll see what Lulu does. Boom. 1 for 1 here today. Green on the screen. Nice little profit there. This setup has been absolutely money. We're going to look to hit this again. Awesome job if you hit Lulu. If you're still in it, looks like maybe we go lower here. We will keep an eye on that. FDX, this short here, looking pretty good too. So whoever's on the FDX short, you know what? I probably should have just sacked up and took it. I mean, the reality is I drew this line. Lines that you draw are never going to be 100% accurate. The same action is happening here. Maybe we'll get another test here on FedEx, but that setup looking pretty good. Another uranium stock. Let's take a look at that. The uraniums have been rolling here. NXE. Jay, remind me, I know Lion's bringing this up now, but Jay, did you mention NXE before? This ticker actually sounds familiar. Great looking chart here on NXE. Clearly an uptrend. I mean, clearly an uptrend here. We want to see CCJ kind of rejoin that uptrend as well. We're coming off the 200, but I want to see that actually expand here. Sure looks like uranium's doing well. Lassie, this is one that was actually on our scanner recently. Okay, this actually got some action in the after hours session yesterday. Looks like it pushed up out of the pre-market here. That spot you want to take a look at here, 248. Guess we could call it 250 on Lassie. We'll see if we end up getting up there. Volume drying up a little bit here. MRNO is back. Let's take a look at that. MRNO. This looks like this is rejected from the VWAP. I don't know if that's back. I guess it's back down. Am I right? LOL. GOEV being mentioned here by Bob. Bob, good to see you this morning. GOEV, nice bounce off that 380 level. Carmen, if you're still out there, don't you have a longer term view on GOEV? I might be confusing this with another one, and I apologize if that's the case, but I couldn't remember. I was trying. Someone asked about this last night, and I thought it was you that had a longer term play on this one. Let me know if that's the case. OCGN, that was another one we took a look at here this morning. Didn't have a plan for it, but we looked at it. OCGN, see if we can go higher here. Looks like it's running into this resistance at 152, 154. Your intraday high print there, OCGN. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if some of these small. Let me actually see what some of my other day trading friends are doing. I know it's a little bit slow here today. Let me see. AMTX was the other group, that was the first stock that I saw in there, and we didn't need the other group for that one because smoked tuna was on this from the onset here. AMTX looks like we are coming back into the VWAP here. Maybe you get a potential buy spot there. 594 AMTX. Reddit wants to make new lows. Robert, who's surprised there? Couldn't be me, right? Couldn't be me. Look out for some accelerated selling on Reddit on a break of this 45 bottom from yesterday. $130. Thank you on Lulu. Hutch's live. You're welcome. Congratulations. You took the risk. Pat yourself on the back. That's how you start off a Friday, my man. That's what we do here. Wisdom. Argentina bonds are going bananas. I'll tell you what, Wisdom, I'm going to take your word for that. I'm not necessarily sure how to trade that, but you do you, boo. Good luck with the Argentina bonds. Not my wheelhouse at all. By the way, we were talking about SPY coming in a little bit. It does look like it kind of firmed up here. That's not to say that it can't still break this here, but it looks like that selling is kind of slowed down. I take a look at the Qs here. It looks like the Qs are trying to bounce and the Dow now at lows. So maybe a little bit of change there. XOFR, this was a former penny stock, now over $1 here. This actually broke its highs on volume and might still be going here. X4 Pharmaceuticals. Looking at the daily chart here, we're above 115, which is your 200-day moving average, and we have a gap fill that completes at 160. 160. So immediately right here, I would say my next upside target for XFOR is going to be 160. I am seeing a tiny bit of size there at 150, but I mean, that could get destroyed. I can get destroyed by a retail guy. I guess that's not even all that big. But keep an eye on X4 here as we broke through the top there. This chart on the daily actually looks pretty good. Coot IPO, Webcoin, I can't even tell if that's a joke. A-Lab, that was a former IPO. That was the day before Reddit, if I'm not mistaken. You were saying that this is primed to go higher. You know, I think we were discussing yesterday, Jay, you might want to check me on this because you might know this already, but I'm pretty sure that Intel either owns or is invested in an arm of this company. So I think if this company continues to do well, that actually should be better for Intel. I'll see if I can find the specifics on that. That was that got brought to my attention yesterday in happy hour as well. I don't have the specifics, but I'll try and grab that for you. Lynn telling us, of course, there are no short shares available on Reddit from Interactive Brokers. This was another thing that we discussed yesterday. Looked like it was very, very difficult to get borrows on some of these. It seems to be the case. Let's take a look here at FDX. Oh, man, that setup still holding in here. Kind of wish I took that one. How about Lulu? Lulu down to that 400 level. So it's holding right here. It's trying to hold 400. This is why on that first trade, I was okay taking the gains here. It's trying to hold this level. It might bounce. Tell you what, if it bounces and can't clear out 413, guess what we're going to do? We're going to take another bite of the apple and try to short Lulu. I guess I should save another bite of the apple for when we're actually talking about Apple. Speaking of Apple, let's take a look at that. AAPL here. Apple looks like this is coming off. Is that 170 or is that? Yeah, that's 170. So that 170 area holding here on Apple. Morning, Alexander. Lynn saying that DWAC got Trump news. Oh, I don't want the units. Come on. Why does it do this? Why? It's like my mouse is stopping it from hitting the right ticker. DWAC here, not really moving, fairly flat here. So it doesn't look like it's responding to whatever that news was. CGC and ACB being mentioned here. Jay, you've talked about some of the pot stocks really kind of moving. You had mentioned the ETFs the other day. CGC, nice move off the 286 level. That was your 100-day moving average. God, 280. This is already a double from that almost. Big move here on CGC. Congrats to any of you playing the pot stocks. Lulu broke 400. Okay, so there we go. So that's going to keep going here. Any of you that are still short Lulu, congrats. Just be sure that now that you've got some really good move, or now that you've got a really good move away from this level, make sure that at some point the gains get booked. You don't want to book them as early as I did, no problem, but make sure that those gains get booked at some point. In fact, at this point, If I had still had my original trade, now that we broke that 400 level, what I would do is raise my stop. I guess in this case, it'd be lowering the stop because I was short, but I'd make sure that we don't give up those gains on this trade. This one working exactly the way that we drew it up. Exactly the way that we drew it up. AMTX continuing to go here. Smoke Tuna, this was such a good call. Looks like Wiss, you're on this one now too. Awesome job on AMTX. Let's see, AMTX, that's above the 200-day. That's what we talked about. Then there's this double top here at 605. So no, that can't be right. Oh, no, we're above that already. That's right. It doesn't show this daily candle. We're above that already. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry about that. Next spot here, the shoulder line of the head and shoulders that this stock put in back in the summer of last year. That level's at 783. 783 on that level. Sydney, good to see you this morning. TCBP. European patent for cancer and infectious diseases. You know, we've seen TCBP be a runner in the past. This actually holding right here after that pop and drop. Looks like it's kind of holding in, and it's above the 200-day. No thought on this. Let me know if you trade this here, though, Sid. Tilray, one of the other pot names. I know you had mentioned ACB, right? Maybe we should check on that. Tilray, same deal here, ripping to the upside, getting high, right? Tilray getting high, ACB getting high, doing the same thing. Dugan, it's good to see you this morning. Hopefully you're doing well, Dugan. Candle close below 168. Will it keep climbing? I'll tell you what, this 168 level has clearly acted as resistance. One of the things that we'd like to see here for a potential trade, if we can move through this 168, let's make sure we hold it on whatever back test we get, and then maybe we can go higher here. I'd actually be looking to take Tesla long here if we get that set up, Dugan. Looking around here, it looks like Apple's bouncing a little bit. AMTX still testing those highs. Portillo's going lower. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Thankfully, we're banking off some other moves here. How about that FDX move we took a look at? Okay, so this didn't really get that extension on that move down, but we're still beneath that level. Still think that level might come into play here today. See, I did it again with this. The V key is not even near the U key. Like, that has to be something with the, yeah, see, it did it again. I don't know why am I having so much trouble typing in the Lulu ticker? It's only 2 letters. 396, Lulu continuing to go here. So now that we're seeing this, some other strategy, remember, I haven't increased size on these plays yet, so I'm still at kind of a smaller size. That's allowing me to not really scale out of this. But strategy-wise, especially if you had a bigger position, scale out at 400 and then keep a trailer in case it breaks that 400 level seems to be a pretty good plan. That's actually what we're getting here. Lulu continuing to the downside. City, I'm not even sure what to make of that comment, so I'm just not going to touch it in fear of getting in trouble. MVFY. This back to its VWAP. Let's see if we bounce there. SOUN looks like this might be done. Look, a little bit of weakness here. SOUN. Look around here. I don't see anything else. How about FRSX from this morning? That's not really doing much of anything. Take a look back at Tesla, see if we cleared out that range. Boy, we're still flirting with this 168 level. Lynn, didn't you give us 168 as a level when I asked you about that several days ago? I feel like you already talked about this level. Clearly, still holding up here. CGC moving here. Ooh, new highs here on CGC. This breaking out. Are we getting the same thing on ACB and Tilray? ACB did take it out, but is not pushing. Tilray doing the same thing as CGC. The pot sector here moving. MSOS was no. Yes, this is the first cannabis ETF. What was that other one that you gave us, Jay? MJ? Was it that simple? MJ ETF alternative harvest? No, what was that other one? Yes, 168. Okay. I'm long at so for Tesla, Dugan, you're long 166.85. Okay. So you're looking for then a break of this 168 level and then a move up towards 170, it would seem. Cool. NVFY going here. Let's check it on FedEx again. Just want to kind of keep these on my radar. Tesla, here we go. Okay, we're going to back test. Here we go, Dugan. Here you go. That move above 168, it's happening. Let's see if we come back in here and test this 168 level. Might take some long here. Actually, you know, might actually have to increase this a little bit. Okay, we came back in towards 168. What do you think? You think we push higher here? Sure feels like it. Would love to see that buying volume expand, frankly. MSOX, that was the other one. Thank you, Beach Bum. Thank you, Beach Bum. MSOX, that's the levered. Thank you. That's what it was. Gotta love the community, folks. Gotta love the community. All right, Tesla, what are you going to do? You going to leave? You going to leave this area here? You're going to come back into this area? Looking around at some of the other stuff. Okay, VKTX back to 72. Let's see if we can break that open. Coming back in here on Tesla. Come on back in and give us an entry. Come on back in and give us an entry. Let's go 2 for 2 today, folks. Oh, Bitcoin didn't even Bitcoin didn't even realize the selling off 63,290 on the futures chart. Big volume on this last move down. Looks like this move through 64K on the futures chart attracted bigger volume sticks on that B2C chart. Tesla continuing to go here. Dugan is smiling. You love to see it. GRDI, this is another one that we talked about this morning. Maybe this is curling up off the bottom towards that VWAP. Let me know if you enter the Tesla one. Will do. Hutchie, I might have missed this because in this candle, it was tough to see. It came back towards this level, didn't quite print it, but came back towards it. We'll see if I missed it, or we'll see if this gives us another setup here. Very similar thing to what happened on FDX, although that trade didn't really pay much anyway. Lulu still holding here, just under 400. You know, this 400 level, now that we're kind of building, but let's see how long it stays under here. But this 400 level might actually represent some resistance to the upside if we can't clear that out. Let me take a sip of my tea here. Take a look at Apple. It's like Apple trading back up here. Okay. Love to see it. Micro Algo. What was the news on this one here today? I think he's back. Are you ready? 13 is back for more trades. You ready, 13?
Yeah, let's do it. How's everybody doing?
I was like, oh, is he checking his phone again? Should I bring him out while he's checking his phone again? But no, it looks like you were shuffling some papers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just trying to see if I could answer your question on micro algo.
Hi, Jesse. Good to see you this morning. Snowing cats and dogs out here, Ryan. How about Chicago? How about it? I actually had kind of a smile on my face when I woke up and saw that, but that's neither here nor there. Let me check out the news here for this MGLO 13. Let me say again.
Reverse split.
Oh, that's what it was. It was just a reverse split here. Okay, you must have been listening in the background, boy.
Yeah, they just did that today. Just
have a Celsius during March Madness.
Hey, Brett. Oh, LASE from yesterday. Yep. New high a day. Nice.
Yep. And it actually is running up into that resistance area. 248, the next spot on LASE. Glenn saying DWAC, boom. What happened? Oh, yes, indeed. DWAC, this might just be trading action here.
You know, I haven't been looking into what's next for elections. So that's on me for not knowing if this is going to move or not. But that price action looks pretty good this morning.
Yeah, oh my God, look at this. Can keep going here. Biggest volume candle of the day. DWAC pushing away here. Let's take a look on some of the other setups that we had here for today. FedEx coming back to that 289.50. I might consider in fact, yeah, if we get back up there and we get that set up, I'll try that again. I'll try that. 13, while you were gone, we successfully booked gains on Lulu. So this setup yet again works here. We did a retest of that 413 level. We shorted right there. We actually had a stop above that level. You continued to drift down. We closed at the round 400 number. We actually broke beneath that 400 number, but it didn't accelerate the selling. So green on the screen here. Nice little trade right out of the gate.
That's really good catch there, Lynn and Randy. If he does make bond, then that would make sense why this is going up. This is in relation to the suit that he had this recently had, where he has to pay 491 million for, I believe it was some kind of tax fraud. But anyway, not going to get into that. That was the headline. Great job on pointing that out, Lynn and Randy.
Yeah. Lynn and Randy, you might want to keep that one on radar. You might have another short opportunity when they indict him for, walking through an intersection back in 1997 or whatever they have lined up next. So we'll see there on DWAC. Nice job if you end up hitting that.
Anybody get NVFY when it popped this morning?
And yes, NVFY. There were several Tuna, Wiss, I think, were both on this one. A number of people hit this one. We actually had 2 legs up here, and it looks like we might be having the third leg, 13.
All right. Well, I'm glad that.
Yes, Lion, I am. Yes, Lion, I very much am. Golf clap there. All about respect here. NVFY pushing away from that VWAP. The first spot here, let's see, 401. I guess we could call it 4. I do see a little bit of size there at 4 and 401. We'll see if this breaks through here. High a day, 443. That's probably your next upside target. They couldn't sell Baiynd fast enough. Jay, appreciate that. I haven't even looked at Baiynd here today. That was, oh my gosh. You know what, Jay? Damn it, Jay. Damn it. Now that I think about it, now that I look at this, we actually didn't get the back test of this level. So maybe we don't get our entry trigger here. But again, broke out of this range. Look at this. That range, bottom end of that range there, I've got that at 105.21. Currently at 101.87 here. So the nice little move away here. Could have done the exact same thing here. Would have been a little bit more difficult, but that setup worked again. Big knife on DWAC. That's the casino. Oh my God. Oh, I'm glad this is not the stock that I'm trading here this morning, 13. I'd be all over the map right now. Much easier trading Lululemon and yoga pants than Trump.
You don't want to get DWAC'd.
Where are my DWACers at? Where are my DWACers at out there?
And what's next? Just gotta cycle through some of these because I need to catch up.
It shouldn't take you all that long. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's not a whole ton going on here. Look, your AKBA, your Admiral Akbar stock.
Is this a trap?
I don't have the, I don't know what's going. Oh, here we go. Device error, opening this device. This can happen for a number of reasons. Here, let's see. I tried to play a register ring for Jane earlier, and it didn't work. And I was like, "What's going on with the soundboard?" Here we go.
There you go.
I was back. We're good, Jane. I'm going to give you your register ring that you so rightfully earned earlier. There you go. And to everyone else, we're just going to hand a couple of them out right here. Come on, soundboard. You can't be not working. We got work to do here today.
Yeah, it looks like NVFY is still trying to push up, and it might get it pretty soon. But there's a big wall of sell orders at 410.
This has been the small stock move here of the day. This has given the best setup. Or you know what? I guess AMTX probably gave you the best move. I think
that looks good.
Why I gave you the best setup. Smoke Tuna was all over this one. He had this one early. GRDI.
What was going on with AMTX? What was the news here?
I don't know if there was news here. Let me pull that up here in Pro. You know what? We had the March Madness. No. What? AMTX gained attention March 8th. Yeah, nothing fresh here. That was a recap article from before. Nothing fresh there. MRNO getting mentioned here again. has had 3 halts down now. Indeed. Signals tool reporting this is the 3rd halt. This is actually just resumed now on MRNO. MRNO, I got that right.
This was the SPAC merger. Yeah. And what's been happening with it this morning? Has it just been going straight down, or do we get a pop? What happened?
MRNO.
Oh, it looks like it's just been kind of leaking all.
Yeah. This to me is a no touch. Just to be very clear, this to me is a no touch. By the way, OTLK looks like this is drifting lower as well. OCGN.
Oxygen. And what do we got going on here? It looks like there was okay, so yesterday after the close, it looks like the news that it's moving on was they went on appeal and there was a lawsuit that was dismissed.
Okay, there we go.
That looks like the catalyst.
Dugan, you're on. Yeah, and you know what else? So this is crazy here on Tesla. So we didn't get the back test of that channel, but had we have taken it, I guess you could say that this battle that lasted, 9 minutes here, that might have been your consolidation area. This also worked here. Dugan, let's get that 170. That your target?
Looks like Veritone is having
That's VERI, right?
Mm-hmm. Having a pretty good morning. Just kind of a little slow moving, it seems, but still making highs. I'm just cycling through and seeing what what has setups at this moment. Root still above 50. That's crazy.
So I bought LAC calls the other day. One of my buddies gave me a tip, and I was like, I'll take a few of them. They're cheap. As soon as I bought them, they sold off. They were down 50%, I think 60% the next morning. And I was like, well, glad I went small on that one. Back from the dead. We are back to even here. LAC. Last couple of days here is move up off the bottom. Dennis saying, check out TSLL. This is the Direction Daily ETF. Is this for Tesla? Tesla long? I think this is a Tesla long direct. Let me see if I get TSLL. Yeah. Yes, Tesla bull 1.5 levered. You know what, Dennis? I appreciate you bringing this up. You know what? We might be able to actually trade these ETFs based on the Tesla chart, use the same setup that we've been doing, and then get a little bit of leverage on that trade. You, sir, have just given me a really good idea. If I forget about this and I forget talking about this, virtually slap me across the face and remind me. I had to throw the virtual in there because I'm going to show up at a conference and someone's going to come up and punch me right in the face and be like, you told me to do it. You told me to do it. We can't have none of that.
As long as they're not telling you to keep their wife's name out of your mouth.
Oh, God. Okay. Look, I'll say this is the only comment I'm going to make about that. Chris Rock has some unbelievable restraint.
Yep.
Will Smith had tried that bullshit with me, he'd have been folded in half. Folded in half. That was some garbage. Anyway.
Yeah, it really does look like NVFL is trying to get over 4 here.
Let me bring that up here.
Here
you go. Let's see if we break out of this flag.
Yeah, I think if it doesn't break out here, it's probably going to come back in.
Danger Boy, let's relax on the caps. We save those for tickers here. We save those for tickers here.
I can see why they call you Danger Boy.
He likes to live dangerously. I'm just going to give warnings at the start here. I have done that many times. I've even gotten TSLS. So Dennis here, looking at the Tesla chart, trading the levered ETFs here. I like it. Will Smith really gave Chris Rock Fresh Prince. Oh, that is good. I hadn't heard that one yet, Crow. That one is good. Lion mentioning GSIT here. This one isn't moving yet. Decent formation on the daily, though, on this one. Reseller on NVFY just under 4. Looks like this one might be breaking lower here now.
And there it is. NVFY breaking down. Couldn't get over 4.
Lulu rolling back over. Whoever's still in this one, we hooked one. We got it. We got it here this morning. FDX, let's see if we drift back up there. What's Apple doing? Apple back at its VWAP. How's Tesla doing? Tesla, it's got to be at that 170. Dugan.
AMTX.
Dugan. We doing it, AMTX?
Yeah. It's
right back to the VWAP?
Yep. It's trying to... the Fresh Prince thing is...
Yeah, it's a good one. Look, I mean, in fact, let me screenshot that because that's a pretty good one. Crow, I hadn't heard that one. Hadn't heard that one prior.
It's a good one. I'm still thinking about it.
Yep. What happened? Did I not?
Very is still going higher. Just a slow mover, man, but this goes up. Might run into some trouble close to 430. What are we seeing out there? Is it Trug? Let me take a look at Trug.
TRUG, the True Gold. That's coming up a little bit here. Not making a whole lot of movement. NVIDIA continuing up. Oh my God, NVIDIA, big move off that VWAP.
It says True Gold on your broker.
TRUG?
Yeah, I thought that was True Golf.
Well,
I have True Golf and
hey, wait a sec. TRUG.
Yeah, and Benzinga, it's True Golf.
My TD Ameritrade has it as True Golf. Trade the Pool has it as True Gold. Let me get that corrected here for the boys.
Very nice, Wisdom. You show those pumpkin juice balls.
What did I miss?
I just read the chat.
Oh, okay.
Lunar's coming back. This one just had earnings recently, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, they had earnings yesterday.
Good catch there, 13, by the way.
I mean, if the smart ass in me wants to say, hey, I just read it. Speaking of Reddit, who's trading that right
now? Whoa, that's some Galaxy, dude. Let's go. Reddit lower, by the way. I like that. I like that one. Oh man, we're having fun on a Friday, folks. Having fun on a Friday.
Fridays are good.
The snow has picked up here in Chicago. I love life, man. It is just the greatest thing. Voodoo saying major dad joke. Look, Voodoo, one of the things that we will not let you down on are them dad jokes. We'll get you. And it's not even me. I got to say, 13 is better at them than I am. So we got you covered. We got you covered.
AMTX, that pushed up to almost to the intraday highs. Coming back in a bit here, but still holding above, holding above my VWAP. How about yours?
This is still holding above the VWAP. We got a test coming right here. I've got that at 615, by the way, 13.
All right. And True Golf or Gold, whichever one is showing up in your broker. So that one looks like it's, if we get some volume expansion, we could move up through the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. But let's see, that level, about 170 looks like the level it needs to get over there.
Okay. I'm going to go back to AMTX. 13, I'm going to step away for just 1 second here. Good luck driving the boat.
Sure. So, Dennis, you're holding Reddit. So are you going to be adding on the way down, or did you just, get an order to fill, and you're going to stick with that until it comes back up? What's your plan? OTLK, if it squeezes, 14 plus is possible. Let's take a look. I don't think I have that one here. It looks like NVFY is really starting to break down. OTLK. And you're looking for it to squeeze to 14. Okay. So I'd make new highs. And what else we got? Like that's funny, Wisdom. What else do we got? Back moving. Is that an actual ticker? BACK? It is. Oh, yeah, it's really moving. So what's the story here with this one? Let's take a look. BACK. The news is loading. Okay. Don't see any news related to this. What other metrics can we look at? It's got a low float, million shares. You have any context to give me on why this is moving up, or is this just it's getting pushed around? Let me know. Any feeds on Go EV? Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Good call. Off the highs, you're stopped at that 460 level.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's just making its way through yesterday's consolidation.
If Will Smith got fresh with his prince to Ryan, would Ryan knock his bell in the air? I like what we're trying to do here. I like the play on words. FFIE being mentioned by Robert. This one's been a scanner play before. Actually, this is a penny stock, but this has come off the bottom here. We've seen this one quite a bit here. OTLK moving on this end. Not really.
I remember seeing this one back when the EV craze was happening. What is this about?
Faraday Energy. That was some type of battery, wasn't FFI? Am I mixing that up with another ticker? No, Faraday Future. This had to do with some type of battery play.
Okay.
This really failed. Do you remember how Jay was telling us about how all those Charge Point and Blink and all those other ones? This was hot during that time and failed at about the same time, if I'm not mistaken.
Intelligent mobility ecosystem. They do work within the auto industries, it says here in the description, but it's like an internet. I think it might be more of an internet kind of thing, Internet of Things kind of play. It says the industry is automobiles. That doesn't seem right to me based on the description. Is that short interest true?
Cav L really quick. Cav L popping up here.
Sir Cavill.
That's right. Sir Henry Cavill. Right. I gotta get these names. Look, I gotta get these names down. Can't be disrespecting any of these names. By the way, Dow at the lows here, folks. NASDAQ still hanging in here. SPY hanging in above its pre-market lows, but the Dow pounding the lows here.
Look at the Dow stocks and see what's pulling it down.
Beck's mentioning CGC. Yes, in fact, the entire pot sector is spending time getting high today. ACB doing the same thing. Tilray doing the same thing. CGC, the outperformer of the group.
So looks like Nike is the big perpetrator here in the Dow that's pulling things down. It's down over 8%.
Oh, right, because the Nike earnings last night. Let me go to that here in a sec. Just one sec. And boom, boom. Okay. Let's go to Nike. We watched that report last night, 13, but we never really came back to it. Looks like it did settle lower, didn't it? Yeah, it sure did. So we actually watched this beat and then move lower later. We actually taken another leg down here. Shoot. Now that I look at this, boy, you know what? Folks, I am going to look at this. This setup is exactly the same setup we were looking at. In fact, I'm going to draw it on here. I know it's too late, but I'm still going to draw it on here. Look at this. Look how clean this was. Oh, my goodness. Heavens to Betsy. We should have played this one too. Look at Nike. Look at this move here on Nike. We didn't get a whole lot of movement here, but the pattern worked out here on Nike.
Yeah, they did. It seems like they did guide pretty badly. They're expecting low single digits in the first half of their fiscal 2025 calendar earnings year. Not great. I mean, it's probably a lot of impacts from China as well. Their foreign division probably isn't doing very well. I'd have to look through the report on that, but that would be my first assumption.
Genghis, bringing up an interesting question here, and I would open this to the group. I'm actually interested in what others think on this one in terms of a plan, because I don't have a short plan for Chipotle. The first thing that I'll mention here is that the 50-to-1 split, I view that as really good. I think that's going to put the stock right around $60, a little bit less than that after that split becomes effective. And I think that after the split, maybe you get a little bit of a dip as people take profits. Remember, if you had, 100 shares and it goes 50 times, you have 5,000 shares now. So I understand that the price is going to be adjusted for that, but I would imagine people are going to take some gains, especially if that was a longer term hold. I don't feel confident enough to short that move. In fact, what I'd be looking for is trying to add on weakness once that split becomes effective. So if anyone else has a short plan on Chipotle, let's let Genghis know here. For me, this thing is just such a monster. I've wanted it long for so long. It's tough for me to just kind of flip short, even if I think there's a short-term short catalyst there.
Thanks for that, Lynn. I didn't know that's what they're going to change a ticker to, but it's just like, oh my God.
Are they really going to do that?
God, the guy's so full of himself.
Oh man. That's just, we're so used to DWAC. Now we've got to learn a new
I like DWAC better.
Me too. DWACers. We had so many jokes. I mean, you're ruining the jokes now.
Oh man.
You're ruining the jokes now. 13, we're gonna have to come up with some more.
Oh, don't worry. I'll spend time on it. Just to wrap up the
NVIDIA, by the way, might be coming back to VWAP here.
Just to wrap up the conversation on Nike's downside. So they just reported Q3, and so obviously Q4 is next, and then we're going to be into their 2025 fiscal year. So after the next quarter, they're expecting the next 2 quarters after that to be down in the low single digits. So that's pretty far out there, and that's not great if you're going to be trying to hold this for a short term period. So
potential bounce spot maybe around 89 there.
Yeah, I haven't looked into where bounces are yet, but that was just kind of like reading the news and trying to articulate what's happening here with this one today. But I think, let's see, I have some levels here. 85, I think, is one that I drew a while back. Let me take a look here. What did you say your level was?
On Nike, 88 or 89. It was like 88.75. Yeah.
I see where you're talking about is. Yeah, that looks pretty good too.
Real quick here, Lulu, this trade, this was a cracker of a trade. This actually moving another 7 points lower than that 400 level. Rufus here mentioning Lulu is scaring the market. This might be true. Lulu's down almost 18% here, minus 17.7% here. I wonder how many people are looking at this former high flyer and looking at the guide and being like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the stock that's doing it. I think it's the comments. Weakening consumer. Well, that's going to scare every company that relies on the consumer.
Exactly. Sorry, I wasn't clear, but you're exactly right.
I'm sorry. Right. Okay. Sorry.
No, all good. Clarity is nothing brings clarity like clarity, right? What is Jason saying? I got to remember. Hopefully he's not watching. He'd be upset that I can't remember that one right now. He'll catch this later. He'll catch the replay and then get me next. Genghis, thanks for the input. You guys are great. Just subscribe today. Awesome, man. Thanks for your support. We hope to see you back here. We love to have fun on the show, and we'd love to help find new spots or new trades. Excuse me.
Speaking of, it looks like Akbar is trying to escape the trap.
Sure does. Looks like we're trying to break the top off here on AKBA. AKBA.
Let me take a look at the SPY here. How are we doing with that? Did we start coming down? Yes, we did. All right.
Look at Apple. Apple pretty strong here.
I don't like that.
Nice little bounce off the 170. But you know what, 13? These bounces off these round numbers here, this pretty much confirms to me 170, 165, 160. All those spots that we talked about are going to be in play inevitably when Apple moves down to those levels. I think you've got that confirmed. Yeah,
I just need to be patient. The whole thing is that the sooner I can get into the levels that I want to be, the sooner I can begin my time horizon on this and get ready to sell it over when it's past a year. That's the whole thing here for me. So And speaking of which, I did mention there's one stock that I'm looking to sell as soon as it gets up to 100. That was SWK. I've had this when I've had most of my shares for it'll be over a year on Tuesday. So that's going to be time for me to take half this off the table. And Stanley Black & Decker, they have a lot of this is a tool company. Everybody's going to need tools, and we're going to if builders are still doing well, then I imagine that tools are still going to be needed. And if people are still buying homes, and they probably need to fix them up, again, tools. So I think this is a strong long-term play. I'm going to only end up selling half the shares when I get to 100, and then I'll just let the rest ride.
Okay. And remember, just because you sell tools or own tools doesn't mean that you are a tool. Big distinction there.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. OTLK, maybe back to the VWAP here on OTLK.
Hey, you know what? Maybe that's a good one to put on your soundboard. Wisdom saying, looking at Lulu has me hearing Arnold saying, "Get to the chopper."
Yeah, the get to the chopper one. That's always a good one. I really do need to do that. I need to kind of sit down, clean out some of the sounds, maybe come up with some better ones. I don't know if I'm going to do that this weekend with the basketball tournament, but maybe.
Lumber mills closing recently. So let's take a look at if that, if I haven't heard about that, but so that's very interesting. Thank you. If that's the case, we should be looking at, is it TMBR? No. I guess wood would be one we could look at.
Look at Lunar going to the moon.
Earnings are good.
KVL getting mentioned by Robert. Robert, you got a sharp eye, man. KVL really, this moved quickly. This happened fast. Is this halted? No. Coot. COOT. Someone mentioned this earlier. I actually thought you were joking. This is an IPO from today? Right at the lows?
That is quite a ticker. Looking at wood, on the yeah, I know. Calm down.
WOOD, the iShares Global.
Yeah, because we just had a comment. The local mill closed and a warehouser is laying off. So we're seeing some weakness in the timber industry, from what my understanding is, Wisdom. And now we see that we have, over the past few days, this ETF has been moving up out of kind of breaking out of I guess we'll call it a round, kind of a cup formation. It looks like it could go higher, and I'm wondering if there's more meat left on this bone, because that's interesting to me. Who's got wood?
I don't ever traded the wood ticker in my life.
This is just an ETF. I think there's better plays out there. This is just the one that came to mind when it came to the timber and forestry.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of what other stocks are out there. I thought TMBR was one, but that's a pharmaceutical company. So big boys might be buying out the little ones. So it sounds like at some point wood could, or not the ETF, but just wood in general could end up being more expensive. That's kind of what I'm gathering from what we're seeing here.
I'm just flipping through some stocks. I don't really see anything. I'm going to check in on some of the other setups that we had earlier. ADN off the scanner, not really. Lulu continuing.
Sorry, that was my phone.
I was rocking out. Lulu continuing to move down here. Dugan got his 170. Let's go, Dugan. That was such a good call. Boy, you got that almost to the penny, dude. Good stuff, Dugan. You've been on fire recently. Been absolutely on fire. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. FDX. Look at this, man. So I was thinking that this might be one of the bigger movers. Like this might have one of the bigger ranges for us to trade here. The opposite. This thing, it gave us the pattern, but it barely moved. It barely did anything. It just kind of sat in here. I'm glad that I picked the right one, as they say here. We got much more movement in Lulu.
OTLK.
Let's go Lion short and DWAC here for almost $400 in less than
Nice.
10. Dude, look at this move. Great job capturing that move. Register ring. One up. Let's go. Let's go.
Just looking to see if OTLK is going to end up curling here.
I'll tell you what, for what looked like a slow Friday morning, we have really done a great job today.
Yeah.
As a group, we have really done a great job. I just, that stuff makes me happy. What can I say?
Oh, we're getting back. So back to back.
DWAC. I tried something there. Here we go. Back. This looks like this was a 180 break. No, a little bit higher than that. 188 break. 290 your high spot here. Wow, big move on the expanding volume. This is what we look for in these smaller ones. This is generally the telltale sign that the trade's going to work. You get that volume expansion like that. Market mover saying, hey, Ryan, Lulu looked like a pump and dump, all upgrades from the last earnings. Yeah, I try, the analyst comments, I put more stock into an analyst that's willing to put their note out shortly before or before the actual earnings print. If you've got the stones to do that, I'm probably gonna take what's in your report a little bit more. The re-ratings is basically them playing catch up. I don't know about pump and dump just because Lulu's such a big stock, but I know exactly what you mean, and I try not to put too much into that. Yeah, thinking about it, saying this is something else to consider here with DWAC and some of these other more volatile kind of, junkier stocks, if you will. It might be difficult to actually get those shares to short. Thinking about here, telling you that E is not even able to get them on Fidelity. So even if you hit that correct, you're not gonna, you can't short it. They literally can't even give you the instrument.
Miles,
no DWAC shares to short on Interactive Brokers. Appreciate that, Lynn.
Miles mentioning AMTX. I just was looking at that too. It just needs a little bit more volume, and we can move up away from VWAP. But currently, it's right at my VWAP, just above it.
This is extremely impressive.
Here we go. OTLK.
Oh, okay. Let me bring that back up
Sorry.
here while I cover this extremely impressive comment here. The I Am Legend Ryan is going to DWAC Will Smith like Ali and make him a Men in Black Eyes. Ryan be the true iRobot of Bad Boys. This is really impressive that you're able to get this much of the colloquial content that we have been talking about into one quote. Ricky Zen living in focus, dude. That's good stuff.
I think Ricky Zen might have seen a few movies.
I think so. By the way, Robert letting us know here. Robert trading back up to the VWAP. We're staying there so far, but watch if this can cross it. This is a good shout, Ryan. Or Brian, Robert, I beg your pardon.
You talking to yourself now?
I don't know what I'm doing right now, dude. I'm trying to hold it
I'm just
together.
giving you a hard time.
For context here, as soon as I showed up to the pre-show fist fight with 13, he goes, "You are chipper today. You're seeming you're in a good mood." Sure enough, that carried over into the open. OTLK, they said that retook 10.
Yeah, it went up there
briefly,
real quick, and then it came right back in.
Yep.
So whoever made the comment that it is all over the place, that was very true. This thing does whip around a lot. Look at the candles that it's been putting in since the open. Lots of wicks around there.
It has struggled to really build or do anything above that VWAP. That's where we're kind of seeing those wicks. That's the one thing I'm going to kind of watch here.
Oh, AMTX with a nasty VWAP rejection.
We got a pretty big knife earlier on AMTX that took us to the VWAP. Now it looks like we're pulling away from that VWAP. This one might be done. A-Lab getting mentioned by Crow here for a potential push if it can get and build above that VWAP. Tom says it's called being over-caffeinated. I don't know if there is such a thing as over-caffeinated. I guess if my hands were shaking, maybe that would be, but we're not there yet.
Have you ever seen anybody drink so much coffee that that's what they were doing?
Okay. Maybe.
Oh, we got story time. Like story
so I worked
coming.
in a bookstore one time that we would serve free coffee. Okay. And we had this one woman come in, and she had obviously already had some coffee. She was running. Okay. She was literally running into the store, went directly to the coffee maker, filled up one of those 8-ounce cups full, literally chugged half of it, and then topped it back off and went into the art section. 20 minutes later, I hear, a whole bunch of rustling, and I just kind of peek my head around the corner, and she's got an entire shelf of books just all over the floor. And she's paging through them like she's looking for her first, lost kid or something like that. And she's just absolutely going crazy. Takes one small book that was like $4.98, takes it up to the register, buys it, and leaves the mess on the floor. That woman's hands were likely shaking. That was one of the displays. I was like, wow, you are an absolute tornado right now.
Yeah.
So, probably.
She might have been drinking or, been taking more than just coffee.
I don't think so. There was nothing else. There were no other like telltale signs that jumped off the page. She was just amped. Like she was connected to a battery almost.
At least she found the book she was looking for.
I don't know. I don't know. She couldn't barely make a coherent sentence. It was actually kind of funny. Like it wasn't really that big of a deal. Oh, we cleaned up some books. I mean, who cares? The teammates in the store, we just kind of had a laugh about that all day. Made it easy to get through the day. And here's the other thing. Sally is saying mania is a thing. Yeah, and so that's the other thing. I don't know. I've actually, this particular woman, I've seen her in that store before, and it was completely normal. That's why I assumed it was the caffeine. But you're right. If that's a medical condition, that's, I feel like a jerk.
Yeah, I do apologize for being insensitive on that. But
I don't think that's the case in this particular case.
Growing up in a metropolitan area, you do tend to see some things.
Oh, yeah.
AMTX, trying to recover, but now the volume doesn't seem to be there anymore. True Golf, still trugging along.
Apparently it's snowing in Detroit too. That's fun. DWAC keeps dripping. Let's take a look here at that. Is that continuing to push the lows? Wow, what a short on that reversal. You got almost a 10-point short off that reversal.
OCGN. High a day. Oh, yeah.
This is actually starting to push on that expanding volume too. Thinking about it, saying, am I crazy to buy DWAC at 37? That looks like a bounce zone. Let's go to chart school and see what we can see there. We'll just see what we'll see. All right, let's go over here. Oh, that's 13. We don't need that. There we go. Here's DWAC. Okay, so thinking about it, looking at the 37 level, that would be the top end of this hammer candle that we put in on March 19th. That's literally, in fact, what is the exact value is 37. So yeah, so you know what, thinking about it, this looks like this is the bottom end of the gap zone. Yeah, I would agree. It could definitely buy. I don't think you're crazy. I don't know if it'll work, but I don't think you're crazy. Bernhard, is Costco getting close to a good entry point? Let's actually take a look at that here real quick. Let's take a look. Okay, Costco. So yeah, we're seeing this sell-off here. Bernhard, this is a great little question. Let me explain to you how I deal with this type of formation. Okay. When we push up to this high that we have here, we've got that at about 787, and then we knife back in. One of the things that I want to see is, do we have the strength to kind of clear out this sell-off? Now, so far, we haven't. Right? We kind of came back in towards that 50-day moving average, which is the yellow line. We stayed above that, which is great, but we were really unable to get above the top end of this candle. Until that changes, I got to think that the smartest new long here is going to be on a support level. And I do not see Costco at a current support level. So what I would like to see is I would like to see this come back in towards 726. You'll notice that 720 is your 50-day moving average. Maybe you want to wait that out too, because what we don't want to do is buy right here thinking, yep, we're going back to highs, only to have this roll over, test and break the 50, and then set up another test of the 100. So I would wait for a more clearly defined support level here. The hack that I did was I literally just bought one share. And that way it forces me to look at Costco every single day, even if my goldfish memory makes me forget. So right here, I'd say use a little bit more patience. Let's try and add Costco on a better support level.
Oh, back is just grinding higher.
Dennis is saying, would that be considered a bear flag on Costco? 13, I'd like to get your input on this. This does, in fact, look like a bear flag on Costco. Until we can invalidate this by moving more to the upside, we've got the flag pulled down, and now we're kind of trading sideways. What I will say, though, is that the longer this starts to drift back up, the more and more it's likely to invalidate that bear flag.
Yeah, it looks like it looked like a bear flag that should be in the process of resolving to the downside now. Yesterday's candle kind of looks like it just couldn't it couldn't get above the 20-day SMA, which it's been constantly hammering. And if we can, that rejection follow through would take it down to the 50-day SMA, where I'd expect there to be some support temporarily.
So there you go. I would, again, that kind of folds into the thesis here of I would actually wait for this to be at more of a support zone than just taking it right here. That's a good question. Wisdom saying Costco 680 is the spot for me on Costco. So that's another 50, almost 60 points from where we're at now. Good stuff. SPY did break lower. Good call, Carl. You're absolutely right. SPY 121. Remember, we wanted that 120 and change spot. SPY looks like it's moving lower here.
Yeah, 680 on Costco. Big support turned. Big resistance turned support level.
680. Yep. And you know what? 13. While we're talking about that, and while I'm here, let's just plop that line down here. Let's just get it down there.
I'll do the same. Why not?
I'm sure we're going to talk about this again. Might as well be prepared, right?
Oh yeah.
Might as well. Bang. 680 on the dot. Okay. Back here to the trade the pool. Let me just roll through some of these stocks, see if anything's changed. Lulu, man, that's short. That was a good one. That was a good one. Congrats to anyone that held that one. FDX tried to come back up. Didn't quite get there. I didn't get entry, although this is still showing us the weakness. Tesla, not Tesla's. Tesla here. This looks like it just took 170 again. I would say that if this takes 170, probably goes to that the next spot, which I've got it at just about 171. It's 170.80, but just about 171.
Here we go with OTLK. It's been trying to close over 10 on the 5-minute chart for the past 15 minutes. It probably could get it this time.
Parker's Thinkorswim Custom Indicators. PTCI is what I might call you from now on. Walmart versus Costco thoughts. I'm going to make this brief. Costco all day and then twice on Sunday for both the store and the stock. This one's an easy one for me.
Yeah, Costco's been on this thing where they have slow growth, but it's steady, constant growth, and they're a lot different when it comes to how they reward their customers and shareholders. So Walmart is still a great play, but I think that's I would say that Walmart's more of a direct competitor with Amazon than Costco, because Costco is more of a wholesaler, and Walmart is retail. That's just there's some differences between the two, in my view. All right, so OTLK couldn't get that 10 close.
Rejected.
Oh yeah, that's the level though in this one. If it comes back up there, now. Sam's Club, that's more of like a direct competitor to Costco, in my opinion. I think Walmart's a little bit different.
Market Sniper saying he likes Sam's Club because he likes the self-scan. I think you mean the self-checkout there. They have that at Costco too. I'll be honest, I never use it. I've actually become friendly with some of the workers. I go at the same time every week, so it's the same people. And they're very, very friendly people. So I like talking to them.
And also, Walmart recently stopped with the self-checkout because of the retail theft that's been going on. So there is another difference.
I mean, for me, it's not even a question on where I'm going to shop. I only go to Walmart if absolutely necessary.
Yeah, we shop at both. We shop
Looks
more
like
at
Lynn and
Costco.
Randy doing the same thing.
Yeah, we shop at both. We shop more at Costco. We have a membership there. We love that place, but sometimes we go to Walmart for some other things that we need.
Yeah, it's smaller, quicker, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Costco, sometimes you're fighting crowds in there. OTLK is still breaking away here.
The lines in Costco.
That's why I go right when it opens. That's my hack. Go when it opens. Be one of the first people out. Get on with your day.
AMD and Adobe. Now, Marlon's speaking my language. HEB is best.
Is that a Texas thing?
That's a Texas thing.
Texas. Adobe, this actually looks like this is going to roll over and go lower, by the way.
It was DocuSign that's getting acquired, I believe, or trying to get acquired. Not this one. So with Adobe, there's a clear trend, a clear downtrend that we're still in with this. You could look at a daily chart and just see that the two peaks draw a line, and that's your trend right there. We just came off of that trend. So I would start looking for support areas. One looks to be 420. That's much further down. But you have this consolidation from 2020 and 2021 that could provide support as well. So maybe we'll call it 468, 470 might be a first stop for support. Then you have the 500-day SMA at 441. And then finally the 420 level that I mentioned. Those would be the next levels I would look for support. Take care, Judge.
Good to see you, Judge. Take care of yourself. Jonathan saying, Ryan, how long do you think the Fed's dovishness will last? All forgotten by Monday? Tough for me to say, Jonathan. I honestly, the way I would answer this question is I would just bet on the chart formation, especially if the volume remains where it is, right? I would just pay attention to the technicals. Let's see where. Let me take a look at that SPY chart and give you an update here. Doing this on Pro here real quick.
That was for wisdom. 420. Regarding the dovishness of the Fed, next week we get GDP and PCE, and the Fed's going to be looking at those because that falls. The market data they're looking for is those are two items that they watch. So they're going to be looking for, both of those to be coming down some more so that they can feel more confident about cutting rates. I think that's when you might see the dovishness end. If PCE comes in hot and GDP is still, I'm not sure what the last read was, but if it's still at the same spot, then they might stop being so dovish. That's just my thought. Yeah, but the GDP and PCE next week, I think, are the big ones to watch next. And then after that, you have the BLS jobs report on the 8th of.
Were you looking for the last reading on GDP?
Yeah, what was it?
This was from February 28th. The quarter over quarter Q4 GDP 3.2 versus 3.3 estimate. The prior reading was 4.9.
Yeah, they want that to come in too. I'm sorry, the BLS report is April 5th. That's when we get that one. Glad you like that, Wisdom.
He is a legend, though, isn't he, Wisdom?
You guys are pumping me up too much.
No such thing. Here is CGC, this staying high here today. CRDF being mentioned by Crow. This one really did move.
Oh yeah, that one, and very
That one was. Let me see here. Did Very come back in yet, or is that
No,
still grinding up?
that actually took new highs and is just kind of holding there.
Oh, look, it works. That one's currently breaking out. I
Sure
love these
is.
previous movers. All right, what's next? I mean, it still looks like if back can hold these
Bitcoin's
levels
still
here.
coming in too.
As I say, if back can hold these levels, it's starting to come down somewhere. But let's just say if it can hold VWAP, then there might be some more upside in this. But that's not a good looking candle that's forming at the moment. And
How's Boeing doing?
I think that was up slightly today.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually holding it so far.
Yeah, I'm looking for some more downside in this still. And interestingly enough, we've come right up to the 20-day SMA where it's been rejected. So that's a good sign if we're looking for more downside. Oh, great job, Kalu.
Kalu's been on it. Been a good week.
He certainly has. A lot of you.
Just in general, it's been a good week.
Yeah. Yep. I know some people were trying root, and they're probably doing well with that, even though it's been consolidating today. Yesterday, we had some really wild price action. Okay. Looks like things are starting to slow down. I'm sure some are going to take off like OCGN is doing right now.
Hey, look at LAC taking off. Speaking of taking off, man, those calls. I should have doubled up when those calls were minus 60%. Didn't feel confident about it though. But man, came right back. We up on those calls now. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Let me see if I can find anything. It does really seem like it's kind of slowed up. I was kind of expecting this to happen. Looks like it might have happened a little bit sooner.
Jonathan asked me about Micron. I mean, it is down a little bit today, so it is in the process of sort of pulling back. But let's see if we can get a level here.
Here's the thing that worries me on Micron. From my 15-minute chart here, that bottom after earnings I had at 108.70, we snapped that here today. Close beneath this. Maybe we kind of come in and close this gap up here on Micron. Probably get a bounce around 100 though.
Yeah, I would probably put up a fib just to see where if you
that's
can
not a bad idea. That is
you can
not
start identifying some levels of where you might get a bounce, unless it just comes all the way back down to 100. But I do believe that this will ultimately go higher, especially with the news and the earnings that they just recently had. The whole AI cloud craze is still in play, and there will be a cooling off period. But once that's done, then we'll probably end up seeing going higher. That's the current thought that I have on all this.
Just taking a look at DraftKings here. This looks like this is just kind of holding in there.
Kalu sick with GNS.
What happened on GNS?
Genius Group. Oh, ouch.
It's just kind of staying in here. It's not really moving a whole lot. I think he means he's stuck with it, right?
I believe so.
I think he meant he's stuck with it. OCGN, that was moving earlier here. OCGN popping highs here. How's PanW doing? That was another one we're kind of watching here. PanW curled up a little bit. Still waiting to get another opportunity at that one. This Lululemon continuing to go lower here. That was a nice trade. That was a nice one here today. FedEx staying beneath its range. Tesla still flirting with 170.
I'll look at the 10-year.
Yeah.
Carl, that's basically what I look at. If the 10 years, if the 10 years is going to do well, then let's see. What the stocks tend to generally go down. If it doesn't do well, then they go up. It's generally how it has been.
We were watching that during
day.
the last tech run up when the 10-year started to pop. The tech run up would kind of slow down.
Yeah. OCGN had a nice big move up to 167.
Sundial near the highs. Okay, folks, it is 11 o'clock, and you know what that means. It is time to bring on our options expert, Anne-Marie Baiynd. Before we do that, 13, you have any final words for the weekend here? Words of wisdom, dad advice, dad joke, whatever you want.
Just everybody have yourselves a wonderful weekend. You've been great this week. And just for wisdom, 420. There you go.
All right, 13. You take care of yourself. We will see you next week. Thanks again for, even though you had some obligations this week with your family, you still made it here to give our community some help. We can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
No problem. I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take care of yourself, 13. And thanks to everyone for sticking around. Smash up the like for my man, 13. Now we shift our focus from trading some of these stocks live to options. And in order to do that, we bring on our expert, Anne-Marie Baiynd. Anne-Marie, happy Friday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How was your birthday weekend last weekend?
Let me tell you, Anne-Marie, sometimes it's all about timing. My birthday weekend last week was absolutely fantastic. I had my favorite Indian restaurant in the world. It was delicious. I got to play golf on Saturday in Chicago. And a week later, on a Friday here, we got a straight up blizzard going on outside. So it looks like I timed that correctly. I woke up to a blanket of snow. They're thinking 4 inches of accumulation today. It's wild.
Nice. Well, Chicago weather has been on that crazy up down thing. Yeah.
Indeed. So look, it worked out well for me. How was your vacation?
Well, actually, I'm still there. I'm still here.
So it's going pretty well then, I take it.
Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was racing in a cab to get back here so that I could be on time. So,
my God. Well, I'll tell you what, we are lucky that you take time out of your vacation to join us here. So absolutely awesome. What we got on deck for today?
Well, we've got a couple of things that reported, and, I'd like to see how they rotate. So a couple of thoughts where option chains are pretty strong might be FedEx, might be Lulu. To do a few of those things there, I'll take a few snapshots. Let me see if I can go ahead, and if I present, will it automatically take yours, or will you have to approve the presentation?
Oh, no, you can go ahead and present. I basically have the option of shifting around the screens any way that we want, so we can both do that. The first thing, while you're getting that set up there, the first thing that jumps off the page to me, the two stocks that you mentioned for potential trade setups today were FedEx and Lulu. Those were the top two watches on my list. In fact, I actually hit Lulu short for a day trade here, which was awesome. So great to see that we're looking at the exact same things. I love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that I want to talk about before we jump right in to rotating in the space is really, what is the market doing in a broad picture event? How did we respond at the first pass to what the Fed said? And then how are we going to look at future motion? So we might be thinking, let's try and make some option decisions that don't really run more than 6 weeks out. So last time we talked, I think we did Boeing, and that one's bounced very, very nicely. We have Apple at the 160, that short call spread. Although Apple is continuing to move down, that position is going really nicely. And so for me, what I want to look at is how have these charts responded relative to earnings, and let's see if there's something simple we can put together for us as option traders to move forward. So let's talk about FedEx. What is your if you look at FedEx and you say, all right, I see this, this, and this, what are you looking at? Because I want to take it from where you are to what price action might look like in the chains, and then I'll take a couple of snapshots and we'll put them up.
Okay, so you were saying what levels was I looking at for on FedEx here today?
Yeah, how do you feel about FedEx? Obviously, it's done very well this week. If I look at a weekly chart, it's moved from 250 to 285. And so, golly, what is that? Like 10%?
Yeah, so a couple of things here on FedEx. Let me just very quickly share my screen so we can have the visual aid. I'll go back to yours as soon as I'm done here.
Absolutely.
Couple of things here on FedEx. First of all, we do have this pretty big gap down from December 20th. I'm assuming this is the last earnings here, and we've really kind of been hanging out in this range. Now, to your point here, we recently kind of moved up out of this range into the earnings report. I'll be honest, over the past couple of earnings sessions, the stocks that have traded up into their earnings report have given me a little bit of pause because those are often the ones that end up getting shellacked. Well, that was not the case here in FedEx. However, the thing that I realized right away, look where we stopped. We stopped right here, which was the high that we sold off from before. I don't believe that that is a coincidence. I understand that we're under some of these all-time highs, but to me, this good report, this good information popped you into a resistance zone. So that's what I saw here today. If I zoom into the actual chart, what I did here was I was basically looking for this pre-market range to fail. And then when it fails, we're going to take entry on a retest of that level. That actually happened here at about 289. I was mid Lulu trade, so I didn't take this one. Lulu ended up paying better anyway.
Yeah, Lulu was quite a trade.
Yep.
That Lulu trade is pretty interesting. All right, so my thoughts are almost exactly the same. And this double gap position, notice FedEx does have a tendency to fill its gaps. It has a lower gap way down there in, looks like March on your chart. Maybe, somewhere
right in
there,
here.
that gap had never been filled, right? And so it may never fill simply because it was doing that well, but it could fill. And to have a double gap in FedEx is a little bit unusual. So I'm thinking we're at essentially maybe a do or die space for the buyers in the near term. And so my thought would be, let's say, okay, so we've had a market, Swiss National Bank lowered their rates, Bank of Japan raised their rates, Bank of England, ECB, us, we stayed steady. And so there's really no shake, rattle, and roll that's going to move us into the next space. It's sort of a, let's digest this a little bit more. And so what I've noticed with our winners and the market leaders, they're making new highs, sort of like somebody like CyberArk, right? They've been just swinging for the fences, doing really, really great. But every new high they get, they pull back into a region of support and then move forward. So in this space, it makes a lot more sense to me to say, listen, why don't we think about collecting premium if price rises a little, falls a little, or does nothing? And that gives us another iron condor. And so the question might be, Emery, why are you looking at iron condors right now? And it's because my expectation is that the big run up into what happened on the floor, on the market floors after the Fed released, is a supposition about what they think is going to happen. And that's not anything tangible. And so they're going to shake it off a little bit. We just had, maybe we have a 10-year tips auction that's going to be coming on in just maybe a couple of hours. I don't know that inflation tips auction is going to do that well. But my thought is these brand new highs are now sitting in a space where the market is saying, I'm going to hold I'm going to pump the brakes right now. So to amplify that is the location of your RSI the last time it was up near these levels. And so it was just into the prior, is that a prior earnings event?
Yes,
Or
I believe it
just-
is.
Yeah. So the RSI was very high. It's all the way up at 85. We're sitting at that same thing. So when that RSI is very high and we're far away from the moving averages and the market is looking at generally sideways moving averages, it's telling us it's got a little bit of exhaustion to the top and it's likely to pull back into the floor of support where buyers can move around. And my suspicion, if you draw a line, how about drawing a line right at the high in October?
High in October. Where
Yes,
is
that
that?
October. Yeah.
Right here.
No,
That's
not
November.
that October. The October. Yeah.
This is
one.
actually September.
Oh, September.
But it's
yes.
the very end of it, so it might as well be October. Okay.
Right. So let's put a line there, and then let's notice that.
Oh, just doing a horizontal line right across.
Yeah.
You got it.
So what that does is say, okay, I had two areas where it was resistance, that number of 270. It was resistance once. It was resistance twice. The third time it broke above and went for about 5 or 6 days, and then it collapsed into earnings. Now, whether it would have collapsed anyway is neither here nor there because we can't tell that. But what we do know is this. Every time that RSI gets up there in FedEx and the moving averages are either far away or flat, the price action reverses. And so that's going to give us an area that says, listen, I'm going to sell a spread above and I'm going to sell a spread below. And those two things, we're going to sell a put spread, we're going to sell a call spread. Together, it's going to make an iron condor. And it's using the same sort of wash, rinse, repeat as the Boeing formation, simply because the markets are telling me that that is very likely the near-term future. So would you buy that argument?
Yeah, that's to me that sounds good, right? That to me that I think that makes a lot of sense. I would absolutely take that.
Okay. From the audience perspective, would anyone be willing to go, yeah, but in this kind of space to go, have you considered? Now, it might take a couple of minutes for us to think through that. But while we are going through that space, let's take a look now at Lulu. And if we can start with the weekly chart.
Here you go.
Okay, so could you draw a horizontal line? Yeah, I think you can see where I'm being at the tops of the valley event. It's kind of where we're coming into support right now, actually.
So like right here?
Yeah, where those, do you see where the peaks looks like about? Yeah, it's where everybody rejected across the board there in general. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it looks right like right in here. This is about 400.
Yeah. So here's the first thing. Now, Lulu has become sort of like a cult stock, right? I mean, people are bananas about Lulu. They're just, I mean, a couple of my kids are like crazy on the Lulu train wag. I have no idea why. Listen, their stuff's great, but I think it's very expensive, and I don't know. I don't see but whatever. I mean, I actually just rode the elevator with a woman who had a Lulu satchel, and she was headed up to the gym. So it's everywhere. So my suspicion is the first thing we're going to do is see a bounce event here. And so people are nervous. They're saying, wait a second, we just broke 400. And so the traders are thinking, the weak hands, right? Weak hands, strong hands. The weak hands are saying, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. The buyers looking for value are going to say, how about if I sell a put spread here? Because I expect the price action to bounce. Now, notice the last time Lulu had that big fade, October 23, I think is what you have right
Let's
there.
see. That's going to be
I think
right. Yeah, it's just going to take me a second.
where is this one? June 24.
No, this you need it in 2023, right? You're looking for
the biggest red bar of volume.
Oh, right here. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the price.
Yeah.
That's right in here. That is October 16th of last year.
Okay. And so notice what happened. Monstrosity of a bar that came in terms of volume. Price action, it just did not break down because everybody was saying, listen, they're going to try and buy the 400. So my thought is we got to give it a little room. Probably that 365 for a put spread. But again, if 365, 355 maybe is that put spread, we can also say, wait a second, nervous buyers are going to say, this thing should have dropped this far, right? Almost 20%. So let's wait until it gets above 500 before we decide we're going to jump right back in the fray of things, right? And so we would look at maybe the top of the week and we'd build an iron condor there also. So we're looking at the 365. And of course, if you don't have enough margin to do it 10 wide, 355, then you could do it 5 wide, right? So 365. And then what is that? What is the high of this weekly candlestick that we're in the midst of right now?
The high here is exactly 480.94.
Okay, 480.94. And then that sideways is 445, right? Maybe we do 450 to 460. All right. Okay, so I have the strikes that we want to do. Let me go to FedEx one more time, and then we'll put these two trades together and we'll watch them go. So FedEx, we're looking at.
This is still the weekly, by the way.
Yes, that's fantastic.
Perfect.
So we're looking at maybe 300 to 310, and then 240 to 230. Let's see how much premium they're going to give us. All right, I am going to hop on over here and take some snapshots because they're so hard for us to see.
Okay.
Right. First thing we're going to do is look at FedEx, and I think May is better to look at simply because 240, 230. You could do 240, 220 also. And then I don't want to see cyber in here. And then we want to do 300.
Now, when you picked May there, did you pick May just because you want to have enough time for this to play out? You don't necessarily want it to be shorter dated?
Okay, so twofold. One, I think in the near term, the markets are going to do this.
Okay.
Sideways action. If we look to April and we try to position for April, oh my, well. You know what? April works here, and I'll tell you why. Because it's only 26 cents more credit that we get to carry for a whole other month. So, yeah, I don't want to do that at all. So I made this, instead of 10 wide, I made this 20 wide. And then we're going to put that, the delta is 2. So remember, and I'm going to save that in just a sec. Going to move that up, and let me do the, remember the delta says what's the probability that this is going to be in the money, right? And our probability is only 2% that it's going to be in the money, which gives us a 98% event for the option expiring in our favor. Sorry, brain hemorrhage right there. 360. Wow. Oh my goodness. Now let me show you something right here.
Are you talking about the gigantic spread there?
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Look at that. All right. So let me zoom in here. Let me shut off the quick styles here. Come on. Why doesn't this go ahead? Sorry. I want to get that out of there, but I can't. Notice the spreads here. I've got these. The spreads here are horrific. So, yeah.
I mean, they are, especially on that put side. Look at that. 23-cent bid, 6.45 offer.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Exactly. So now here's a very interesting thing. When you build a spread in your platforms, what they will try to do is set the price at the mark. So if we're looking at the mark, it would be 6.45 plus 23 cents, which is 6.68.
Yep. And
then we're going to divide, find the midpoint of that, 668, which is 334. And that's what that actual, if you go, hey, I want to buy that, you'd want to put it at the mark and then just leave it there to fill. And so if you notice, if I go to Lulu and I say, hey, listen, I want to sell the 370 350s. Let me pull this down a little. You're going to see it gives us a credit of 165. And if you look at that and you go, wait a second, I'm selling the 370s, which are 23 cents of credit, and I have to buy this one for $2.48. That looks like a debit to me, but it shows up as a credit here because it's being priced at the mark. And so that's something very interesting that you can do. And I would say it's much better to let them go in at the mark and just wait it out. Now, what I do notice is that there's a lot more at the 380 to 350. So we'll go to 360 and I'll take the snapshot here.
And that also looks like a tighter spread there on that 382.
Much tighter.
Much better, yeah.
Yeah, much tighter. And then here we'll go to 450. Oh, no, that's the, wait, where am I? I'm at Lulu. So 365, 355, 450 to 470. So it would be, the high would be 480. Where is this thing right now? Is it at 478? What is the price of Lulu right now?
No, it is not at 478. Lulu is below 400. Price
That's
I've got, current price
thinking.
391 on Lulu.
Okay. Let's, ever since Thinkorswim, oh, for heaven's sakes, ever since Thinkorswim mapped over to
Schwab,
it's been a little bit of a dumpster fire, I gotta tell you. All right, so what is the actual chart event that we're looking at? 391 is where it's sitting right now, right? 390, yep. Something like that?
391.52 is the price that I have.
Okay, so 450 would be on the call side. Oh, see, this is not even giving me the right spreads. So it's showing the trading day, yesterday's trade. I don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah, what happened? Oh, you know what? Is that the company profile in the upper right corner there? It looks like that's selected on 321.
Oh.
I wonder if you change that. Here we go.
You know
This is
what?
what we were looking
Oh,
for.
exactly.
See, you always come to me with your tech problems, Anne-Marie. That's the answer.
You know what? I should know this. I should know this. All right. So now this looks even better, right? Look at how many are sitting at, yeah, that looks really, really much better. That looks much better. So we have 380. So let's go back to our 370s and 350. So we'll do 20 wide. And then hang on a second. 22. Okay. And then we will do the 450 to 470. All right. So that gives us about 5. This is in May. Now let me choose the FedEx one on the right price point. Okay. Now we've got these because now we're on the right price point. We will go to May for both of the FedEx and the Lulus, and I'm going to take a snapshot. And we're going to talk about them in terms of what they are doing and how we can position it and where we might potentially be able to add to it. So here's what we're looking at, 2 iron condors. We talked about what the price action was doing first, right? And we picked out our spreads because of that, right? And so now we have the 300, 320. I've got them 20 wide. And here's the big thing that I want. Whoa, that didn't snapshot it didn't give me my delta. How bizarre. The delta here is very legitimately near 3 to 4, right? It might be a little bit more. Boy, I sure hope that Schwab fixes this stuff.
If they're not going to give you the delta, that's crazy. I've actually never seen NA in that column before.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't have any idea what's going on here. All right. So here's what we're looking at. We've got 550 as the credit here, and we've got 320 as the credit for the FedEx ones. And the strikes are for May, 300 to 320, 240 to 220. Here's what you have to do with these. You need to put an alert at the short strike. So you would put an alert at 300 and 240 so that you know that you're still doing fine as long as that never triggers. 340 to 370, and what it will do is just leak all of that premium for you as time moves on. So you might say, if you're an options trader, we look at risk and reward in a completely different way. So we might say something like, wait a second, I have a $20 spread, but I'm only collecting $3 for this. So my risk is actually $16.80 or so if I let this go to expiration. That's true. But the probability that that happens is what your delta is. And that was the number we were reading that was about 4. Okay? So if you've got a 96% probability that it doesn't happen and a 4% probability that it does happen, then your job is just to happen, meaning that you lose, right? Only 4% probability. Then all you really have to do is watch theta erode here and make sure that it doesn't move outside these strikes. So some of us thinking about collecting more credit will say, well, can't I sell the 290 calls and sell the 260 puts? Yes. But what that does is reduce your probability of being right. That delta is going to start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And once it gets past 20, you're going to find yourself staring down these things a lot of days. Now, not that 20 is bad. 20 is not bad. But what I try to do is make it stupidly low risk in our favor, so that if we end up looking at this and we only, let's say we come all the way into earnings and it's still holding, all the way into May and it's still holding, $1.80 of credit, you've still made 50% on that return. Well, not quite 50%, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get a better shot of making the money, and it's much better to focus on where's my risk first. Where's my risk first? And then I'm going to look at everything after.
And that's actually something that is a perfect way to end it, Anne-Marie, because that is actually something that I have picked up over the course of the years. Always plan for your downside first. The rest of that will kind of fall in there. So I love this particular setup there. Okay. Real good stuff here. I know I can't thank you enough for joining us from your vacation. That's really awesome. I can't wait till we're back in the home base. Is that going to be next week?
One more week after that. So
one more week after that. Hey, you're living it up out there. Let's go. All right, Anne-Marie, well, do me a favor. Promise me that you have yourself a great weekend, and we will catch up with you on some more trade setups next week.
Absolutely. And same to you. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Have a great weekend. Folks, smash up that like for Anne-Marie. She's the absolute best. I'm going to be doing more and more of those option trades where you can kind of reduce your risk. Anne-Marie paves the way for Zunaid. How do you like that intro, Zunaid? How you doing?
I mean, I can't really follow in her footsteps, but I appreciate it. I can't wait for Reddit to go ahead and have options, because I'm going to be like, so Anne-Marie, how do I make money without just YOLOing everything in my savings account? So
did you trade the Reddit IPO at all?
I did, man. I lost $500 on it because in meetings all the time. So by the time I get something, I'm like, what I wanted. Right? If I wasn't an adult and if I didn't have a full-time job, I would have made money with what I wanted to do. But then I saw it too late after meetings. It's my fault, whatever. But I am keeping an eye on it today for sure. No question about it.
Okay, we did come off the bottom. Zunaid, what do we got coming up here?
We're going to continue the options, train in terms of learning how to do different things. You saw the spread side of things. Now we might take a look at a bit more directional side. We've got our new show that we're going to do every single week. It's going to be with Sandra, who's going to come up here in just a minute. So we're going to talk more options. And then later on, after that, we're going to talk about a couple of trades I took. But then after that, we've got Edwin, who is short Hershey's from the Bear Cave. So that's going to be an interesting twist to what we haven't really done lately on this show on YouTube side. So we'll talk to someone who is short Hershey's. We'll talk some candy. It'll be fun.
You got a pretty good slate going on there. It's going to be hard to top that. Zunaid, thanks so much. Have a great one. And if I don't talk to you before the end of the day, enjoy your weekend, boss.
Absolutely, man. You go ahead and take care. Let's go ahead and set things up. AT, if you're in the back. He is, yes, in the back if you want to take care of the branding on top. How do I do that? I can't even blame AT because he does so many other things. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and keep things moving on the option side. Sandra, just give me a thumbs up when you are ready, and I can go ahead and bring you on. And I don't know. I don't think she gave me a thumbs up. I think it was like a touch on the chin, but it wasn't a thumbs up. But chat, here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to talk options. So I need you to kind of know what tickers you want to go ahead and talk about. So whenever, I always want to find a way to say directionally, how can we go ahead and play certain things? Not just because we want to be degenerates and have, YOLOs all the time, but also so that we can take advantage of the fast moves from critical support or resistance and pivot lines themselves. Sandra, are you trying to share a screen or... Here, I can just bring you on and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. What's up? What are you having trouble with? Talk to me.
I'm just having trouble with some tech.
That's okay.
For whatever reason, I have an external camera that's not working. So this is my laptop camera that's on.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah. Well, no, you look great. We appreciate you for hopping on, and I know I'm very excited to go ahead and be able to have you lead your own show, and then I'll kind of fill in here and there with my comments because I also like to make money. So I appreciate you for hopping on. How's this week been for you? Wait, hold on. You know what? Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fit-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Those are kind of like my favorite part, so I apologize.
I just love that intro you did.
Shout out to Kunal. Kunal's the one who put that together. But
Wow,
all right, talk to me.
phenomenal.
What
Awesome.
are we looking at in terms of trades? What have you taken? And then we'll kind of dive into what you're looking for the week ahead and maybe even later today.
Yeah, so let's see. We took a credit spread. So you were just talking about premium selling just prior with your prior guest. And so we did a little of that this morning. Took a SPX, 0 DTE. I don't know if you're into that credit spread, but we got into that. We took a 52.60, 52.65. We sold the call credit spread for about 70 cents. I think I ended up getting about 75. Looking to take that off when it gets to about 5 to 10 cents. Basically walking away with about 85% profit, 90% profit.
Nice.
So right now we could close it for 20 cents. So we got just a little bit of margin here before my automated order just takes care of that.
Awesome. Love the credit spread side of things. I need to get more into the habit of that. But like I was just complaining to Ryan, with me working full time, I probably need to dedicate like 30 minutes on my calendar. It's like, hey, do not disturb me. I am putting on my orders. Everybody leave me alone. And then I can just let whatever the world needs to happen on that side of things. If you'd like, you can share your charts, or I can go ahead and share mine in the meantime. If you want to share, you just hit present. You can share a screen.
Let's see if I can navigate that.
No, it should be simple. So present and then share screen, and then you can choose a window, a tab, or a screen, whatever you would like to do. And let me go ahead and see how I'm going to see if I want to get into this Reddit trade and see if we can make some money live on air.
Really? You're going to do Reddit, huh?
I've been. So actually here, let me get your analysis on it, right? I know you've got your screen ready to go, but I'm going to go ahead and
show me yours.
I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Okay. So here is my screen. So we've got Reddit here, and here I have zero ego when it comes to this. So if you feel like, hey, here's what I would do, please let me know. But here's a 30-minute. I've got my fibs lined up as well. To me, we're about to go ahead and, the 15 minutes is 30-minute, but on the 15-minute, we might close above this $50 area. Love the whole number aspect of it. So I want to go ahead and get in. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let's just say we want to buy 100 shares, and I'm okay risking 200 to make $200. So that's the trade that I'm in, right? Real money, real life. Now, to me, my stop loss is going to be below the candle here because I assume in the 15 minutes it's going to close. And then I want to go ahead and have it right before we get to the 0.618 fibs of about $52.55. That's my trade setup. What do you like? What do you hate? You won't hurt my feelings. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I'm thinking that, let's see, that is that an EMA that you have on your chart? Is it?
So it was a VWAP. The yellow line that you saw was VWAP.
Okay. So I actually like the break of this area right here for a trend change. I just feel like it looks like a double top right there with the opening candle of the morning. So looking for a break above that area right there. Exactly.
So would you have gotten in after we break that and not before we get there?
Yes, I would. And the reason is because that's, you could consider that the high of the day on that first candle. Mm-hmm. And so you're really looking for a break of the high of the day for a continuation trade to the upside. Right here, though, presents kind of a decision point for the stock. If it ends up looking at that and saying, hey, this is resistance, then you could be coming back down to make a either a double bottom or break that bottom and make a lower low.
All right. Well, I'm down $50. So not really looking pretty on that side of things. Okay, let me go ahead and have so chat, I'm going to go ahead and leave this up, right? As soon as I get filled, whether I get stopped out or take profits, you guys know we like to be transparent here. I will let you know. I have zero issues letting you know. I'm currently down $50. I've got another 60 to go. But I'm going to go ahead and share your charts here, Sandra. Just make sure on your top left, your account isn't showing. Once you give me the heads up on that, I will go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, we're all good.
Perfect. There you go. That's your screen right there. Talk to me. What are we looking at?
Well, I was looking at actually a swing trade for SOXL, bullish 3 times for the semiconductors, and really was looking for, this is our weekly expected move. We actually surpassed it today, but as you can see on a 5-minute chart, we're breaking down below it. Now, if you have an indicator that can show you what the weekly expected move that includes the volatility on Thinkorswim, we do have that. Maybe I can give you that indicator somewhere you can list it for your viewers. But if you can see what the weekly expected move is for any stock, it's really helpful because oftentimes, and it is Friday, 68.8% of the time, we actually close within the expected range. Knowing that could help you. However, if we actually close today above that expected range, there's a very high probability that XOXL is going to be even more bullish next week.
And the reason you're going with SOXL instead of like, say, any stocks within that is just because of the volatility aspect of it, or just because you like the way it moves, or like what's the reasoning behind that?
We were doing a small account challenge in our group.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And sometimes, these types of 3 times bullish ETFs just move a lot quicker than just the typical QQQ as an example, or something else. And so we just decided to pick this for our challenge. So if it stays above this level by the end of the day, and that's 46.31, and by all likelihood, it could. And if it does, then that's going to be a bullish indication for next week.
So right now
you're looking at,
yeah,
let me give you the strikes on that, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see. We were looking at, I want to give you the same exact one that we put out.
So just before you put them out, before you tell us, you
Sure.
haven't gotten into the trade. You're waiting for the candle to go above where I see the green line, and then you will enter into the strikes that you're about to tell us about. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So let me see where we actually had one of our traders already get into this, but I'm a conservative trader. Like you, being right at a double top and entering a trade, I really like to see the trigger actually get triggered for the entry, just like that one area. As soon as I see a closing, maybe a 5-minute candle above that area, to me, that's confirmation that it's continued bullishness. And the same goes here as well. Our trader just really felt like this is going to be looking really good for next week. However, when I look at the chart, I see something a little different. We have a gap over here from yesterday. Oftentimes we like to fill gaps, at least partially fill. So I'm looking at that as a possible hazard. I'm looking at that 68.8% of the time we close within our weekly expected range. If we close below here, that's going to be hands off for me on a swing trade. I really want to get up above that 46.30. And let's see, the strikes was March 28th, and that's a $49 call.
All right, so $49 call if we go ahead and get to that side of things. And you said the expiration was March 28th. So next week is what we're going out to.
Yes.
Got it. All right. It looks like here. Mark, Mark, you put minus 700, or at least that's how I read it. I think you may have meant to put like a dash, like, hey, here's what we're talking about. But then you put the dollar sign or the money emoji on there. So I'm glad that you're making money based on what you just said on that. Let's go. If you don't mind, let's take a look at Lulu. It's okay if you haven't, if you're not in a position or if you're not interested in a position, but I'd love for you to kind of just walk through Lulu, what you're seeing. I know they just had earnings that was reported. So would love to get your insights on that aspect of it. And
I feel like my computer is so slow right now.
That's all right. I know sometimes when folks hop on here,
there we go.
Give me 1 second.
Ooh.
If not, I can go ahead and
no.
You got it? Okay. Oh yeah, okay, cool.
It just
so you see the big gap down, yeah.
It just looks terrible. That's it looks like on my chart. So we had a big gap down this morning. We never attempted, by the way, to even fill that gap. It's very bearish. Right now, we're right underneath the 20 on a 5-minute. So as far as a day trade is concerned, I wouldn't be taking any calls to fill this gap. until we actually break above that 20. And so, you know how you like to use fibs?
Mm-hmm.
I often tell people, to gravitate towards the indicators that make sense to them. So, out of all my years, I've tried the fibs, I've tried all sorts of indicators. And for me, the 20 EMA just works perfectly for trend change. So as you're looking for an 61.8 break as an example, I'm looking for the price to get above 20. And I actually use the 20 EMA on all time periods, all charts.
So it doesn't matter if it's the 1, 5, 10, 4 hours, whatever, 20 EMA is what we're rocking with. By the way, I did go ahead and get stopped out. So I went ahead and lost $117 on my Reddit trade. Let's go ahead. And so we're kind of zooming in on that aspect. What are you seeing there?
So what I'm seeing is it's trying, when we have a big gap down like this, it's almost, the way that I equate it is like a bus just out of control downhill.
Yeah.
And it takes a really long time for the stock to turn around. And it may end up, the momentum here may end up getting a little stronger. But, our market right now is not very strong. We're just, we're kind of bearish right now. So looking really for Lulu to break above here and start to do a trend change. And you'll notice that we're actually below the weekly expected move for Lulu. So this is very bearish. I would at least expect price to get above 438.48 today if it has any opportunity to start to kind of correct itself by next week. If it doesn't and stays below this 436.41, meaning that it stays below the expected move this week, you could see more bearishness continue for next week.
And now you have Kumar asking, is 20 EMA the best? My answer to this one is my answer, right? And then you can provide your insights. To me, it all depends on what it is that you're trying to do, but also what stock you're kind of looking for. Right? Because some stocks will respect other EMAs more so than they will with other stuff. So that's why so many times people will go ahead and say, hey, stop trying to trade 20 different tickers. Stick to 2 to 4 tickers, and that way you know how they behave around whole numbers. You know how they behave on double tops and whatever the case is, similar to how friends in your life, you know what ticks them off. You know what makes them smile. You know what they like, what they don't like, and you know what to expect. You know what to anticipate. So my answer would be, it depends on the ticker that you're looking at. And even then, who really knows? You got to back test that.
I agree. I really feel like, trading is subjective, and all of us have different personality styles and what we gravitate to while we're learning, as well as, when we're, playing sports or learning a new skill. And so really with, there's thousands of indicators on there that you could get for free or paid. And I really do feel like it really is independent to the person that's trading. Yeah. If something is working for you as an example, then please don't care what everybody else is doing. Amen. Because that works for you. And as long as that happens, then it's all going good. It's when you have a lot of stuff on the chart that you can't identify and it's not helping you, then that's when you probably should try to, create a clean chart and start from scratch and just have a couple indicators and see if you're able to identify price action.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm going to actually share my chart here in a moment to kind of, so here's how I like to go ahead and trade, right? I usually have, I have one thing on my chart, and that's a yellow line, which is VWAP. Then I go ahead and have my cute little crayon drawings as well. And then you can see I have this box, right? Now, obviously, we've kind of invalidated a little bit on the 15, but to me, this box is the perfect time to go ahead and go short because you have the trend line and you have the previous resistance, but I also would want to go ahead and have my VWAP there to kind of give me a double, a triple confirmation of, hey, here's where all the lines of resistance are. You can go ahead and take that trade. Matter of fact, I'm currently in my trade station, not in my futures account, or else I could go ahead and show that I did actually take one of these trades off of the retest on this rejection and come down. Point being, you mentioned, hey, don't have a noisy chart. I had the VWAP, then I have my resistance lines, and then if I really want to just let a trade continue going, then I'll go ahead and turn on my EMA clouds that I found from Ripster, and then I'll just kind of let the trend follow. Same thing you're saying, as long as it stays above and we continue rising and rising, there's no reason to completely get out of the trade. If you're in for 100 shares, maybe take 50 out at certain levels, at pivot points, resistance areas, but maybe leave 5 to 10 shares or 5 to 10% of your position to just continue going through towards the day, have a trailing stop loss if you want it, have a percentage trailing stop loss, whatever it might be. but just maybe let a little bit of a piece continue to grow the account.
I like it.
Yeah,
Looks good.
I think it works. So we'll see how things play out. I'm still keeping an eye on Reddit to see if it does make its way back towards 50. And like you mentioned, right, you were absolutely right. It did not go ahead and cross that 51 area. It did go ahead and reject for now. We'll see if it comes right back up. What other tickers are you looking at? And I think someone mentioned, what are your thoughts on NVIDIA going
NVIDIA, let's take a look at
next week? And yeah, while you do that, let me go ahead and for me, NVIDIA, here, let's go ahead and let me know when you have, actually I can see it, but I'm just on my other screen. It's amazing. I should turn my Slack on Do Not Disturb because I think I just got 40 Slacks since we've been on. And I'm like, and they're different channels too. So different things are happening.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's Friday, so everyone's trying to get stuff done. Because actually, matter of fact, tomorrow we've got a webinar with Direction where we're going to talk about ETFs and the different products that they have. So it's like if you want to go short Tesla, but you don't want to actually short Tesla, you want to get on some leverage ETFs, they've got some cool stuff there. But let me know what you're looking at here with NVIDIA.
Oh, I'm looking at a bullish continuation right here. We're at resistance on a 5-minute. Are they interested in a day trade or a swing?
Looks like they said swinging into next week.
Oh, okay. Well, you see how we're actually above this pre-market, weekly expected move line, and I love that. And you can see that we're just obeying it as well. I mean, it has not broken through. It's above the 20. It looks really good. I can see the EMA like approaching it, so we might get some sideways action here for the EMA to kind of touch base. I would love for the EMA to be above this our weekly expected move. And then really what we need for continuation is just a break above this high today, which is at 939.94. A break above that, and you're going to have a higher high. So we made a high. Well, you can see here we made a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low, another higher high, a higher low. And so for it to make another higher high, we need to break this area right here. If not, we may get it into a double top and then a rejection and possibly come and retest this and kind of bounce around until it gets enough energy to break through.
Yeah, I'm kind of charting it here myself as well. And here's what I'm seeing, right? So you kind of broke it down on the 5-minute. I'm going to go on the 4-hour side of things. Let me see if I can I'm at a different setup than usual, but this is a 4-hour, right? So here's a trend line. I've got 1, 2, 3. And you can see we're right at that resistance point of about that 938, 940, call it that on the round number side of things.
Yep.
Got to go ahead and break through. Once we go and break through, then we can go ahead and knock on the doors of 950 and then 973, and then see if we want to go ahead and get to 1,000. So that'll be something for us to go ahead and keep an eye on. It looks like someone wants to know, well, do you have any other tickers before you kind of get more from the chat that you wanted to kind of take a look at going into next week? And you want to review for us?
I don't have a lot. I took a little bit of silver, kind of in that gold silver action. Was looking to see how our price action was today. I felt like yesterday was kind of interesting. What did you think about yesterday's price action as well as this morning's price action?
So yesterday, I don't really trade as much unless it's like in the first 15 minutes. But as you can see, I've got some things charted. So I did go ahead and take this trade actually on another show that we did on the futures side. So let me make it a little bit cleaner. Let me go ahead and get rid of VWAP. And here's why I took this trade yesterday around this time, actually. We had made new all-time highs, I believe, on the NQ. So that's one chart there, or that's one point. Then we went all the way up. And my hope with the Hopium was that, hey, we won't make another all-time highs. We will make a lower high, which is when I drew this. I was wrong because after I took the trade, we got here, but my stop loss was above this candle here. So I still made money on the trade. I was wrong that we wouldn't break and make a higher high. But as you can see, it dumped. I didn't capture all this. I think I got up to about maybe 70. So it was a sweet $300 that we made. But you know how every trader, you're kind of like, yeah, but what if I had held the whole thing? Because I did hold on to just a little because I'm still building my account. It's not like I can just go in with 10 contracts or whatever. But it's always tough because you're like, oh man, that really did the flush. Because the next time you expect this flush, it's going the exact opposite way. And then you're like, oh, I should have stuck with my rules, So it's like the market knows sometimes.
Well, I really do believe, like, hindsight, it's just not even worth beating yourself up about. We're here every single day. This is what we do. So I always say, if you can get in and you can get out with profit, you're ahead of most people.
Yeah.
So just keep doing that over and over and over again until, your skills, you start to strengthen up. You start to have the capital to maybe have some diamond hands a little bit, to hang on to it a little longer and ride it out. But you could have also just taken your profit at that first support level, and then as it's breaking that support, enter another contract or two or three.
Yeah, scaling in and scaling out is definitely scaling in is something I need to work on. Scaling out, I'm okay with. Scaling in, though, it's tough to be up $300, and then you go ahead and add another contract, and you're like, why did I do that? So that's just tough from a psychological standpoint. Matter of fact, now we're kind of at that resistance area. So part of me actually, let me go ahead and log out. We'll go ahead and do this. It's going to take a minute, but I might actually go ahead and short. Now I got to find my password. Don't worry, the world won't be able to see it. At least I don't think they will. Now, if I paste it on the username side, they would. So here, we're going to see if we can go ahead and take another trade, risk 220 to make 220. And we'll see if this trade works out in our favor. And the reason I'm taking it is because I believe this is going to hold as resistance. The trend line is right there as well. Now, full disclosure, the trade that I put on for Reddit was my own money. It was, real money that I lost. This is a funded account with Apex. So for the folks at home, it's a funded account with Apex. It's in between paper money and real life money like my other trades. So I just want to be fully transparent with the folks that might be watching for the first time me trade futures. Here's how I trade it. That's the platform I use to go ahead and get things done. Yeah, we've got Beach Bum saying silver and gold, silver and gold. Everyone wishes for silver and gold. Is it quite Santa? Is it quite December? I don't know. Okay, we got one request before you hop out. I know you got 4 minutes. Straddle seller in Costco, I believe. Stock options help. I'm not exactly sure what they're looking for help-wise, but let's just kind of review the trade in Costco if you were to take it. When you're ready, you can let me know, and I'll go ahead and put your charts up. And I can, in the meantime, see what I think of Costco. Costco is awesome. I love Costco. All my homies, Costco.
That previous comment on silver and gold, there's a lot of institutions right now buying silver and gold. So I think, if you have some tools like option flow, it can kind of give you kind of a sense of, where the market's heading. So oftentimes, if you can see silver and gold, a lot of institutional buying, you just keep an eye on it, maybe do a starter position until you really start seeing some heavy, money go into there from that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, going to pan out, but it certainly can give you kind of an indication, a nudge of where the market's heading. So what have I seen in the last couple of days? And this is with a very bullish market, guys. I'm seeing the institutions buying silver and gold as well as energy stocks. What is that? Well, that's, kind of that when the market pauses, you have energy stocks, communication stocks, you have silver, gold rise. And so this is just a play that, hey, are we overbought at this level? Is there going to be a pullback? I mean, the market doesn't just go straight up all the time. So, I would expect us to have a pullback. And when we do, those are the types of stocks that rise.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your stock analysis, and then we'll hop on up.
All right. So let's see. For Costco, is this for short term or long term?
Let's go ahead and say we are looking at a month out.
Oh, okay. Let's look at a day chart first. See how slow it is?
I know.
So this is something I need to get with you on. I have a different browser maybe I should be using. All right. So it looks like Costco right now is kind of in a quandary. It's been being a magnet towards that 20. As long as it stays above that 20, I can see further bullishness. But you could see momentum here kind of dying. It really is at. We actually stayed above our weekly expected move here. So that's actually positive. If Costco closes today above that 737.60 area, let's just say 738 area, it has a good probability of success of continuing higher next week. And for next week, we're looking at 750, 750 approximately for a target for next week if it can close above today's expected move, which is around the 437.50 area.
All right.
So that's how I see it for next week. But I'm a little cautious because the momentum is kind of dying there, and you can see the momentum going lower. On a shorter time frame, you know, we gap down and we're kind of just basing out right here. So I could see us doing a reversion to the mean right back up to the 20 thereabouts at 741, and then possibly another leg down until it starts to maybe do a trend change. And I would love to see a trend change above that 20. If we get above that 20, then we're looking at 744.42. And I would love for Costco to close above that little area today.
You've got a bit of a gap on that side of things as well, but appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and get out of here?
No, I would say looking forward to seeing what next week brings us. I think we are a bit overbought here. I wouldn't be surprised for a pullback. The ebb and the flow of the market is just how it works. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Next Friday, right?
We will see you next. Oh, you know what? Next Friday is Good Friday. So we might see you the Friday after that, but you and I can figure that out. But awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for hopping on. And tell the folks real quick where they can find you after you're gone.
Oh, thanks. Come visit me over at tradingmadesimple.org. O-R-G.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about this trade. So honestly, here's what the show, yesterday we mentioned this idea to the chat during, what did we mention it? Yeah, I think it was during a live show because we do recorded content as well. And I said, here's what needs to happen. I need to put $1,000 into a brand new account and take $50 to $100 trades, 0 DTE, and just see how fast I can go to zero. Right? You know how you have challenges where they're like, oh, 1,000 to 10,000, 1,000 to whatever. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go 1,000 to zero, but I'm going to do it by actually thinking that I know what I'm doing, and it's just not going to work out. But anyway, let's take a look at what is going on in the market. Here's what we got coming up next. We are going to, unfortunately, here, let me actually just check on something. Where is I just opened up 20 Slacks. This is fun. Nope, that's not the one I was looking for. Where is it? This is the best part about doing a show live, is you have to find it. Okay, I'll wait for someone to go ahead and Slack me what I'm looking for. But here's what I'm kind of looking at in the charts. You've got higher highs being made on the Qs. We'll see if they continue to do that. And I just went ahead and got stopped out of my trade. So we went ahead and lost $220 here. Again, that's on the funded account, so it's not my real account, or it's not my real money. But to me, I treat it like real money, so I'm not just going crazy with it. But there's not a lot of action here that I personally want to go ahead and take on anything that is happening around. Is there any tickers that y'all feel like, hey, we might have a trade? It's also lunchtime. Oh, okay. Hold on now, Apple. Hold on now. Okay, now this is where we get interesting. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Apple, right? Taking a look at the left, you had support, support, support. Then you went ahead and you got hit with resistance. Now, Apple is up about 1%. The market's about at break even. So you have relative strength at that point. A part of me wants to go short with a stop loss above this wick. So I'd be risking approximately 50 to 60 cents. If that's where my stop out is, let's talk about where my take profit would be. My take profit would be around 172. And my second target would be at 171.60s. So that area, which was a previous resistance, it held on as support, as you can see with that wick on the 15, and then VWAP. The question is, I'm already 0 for 2. Am I really going to go 0 for 3? I believe I will. I don't know if I will go for 3 or not, but we will go ahead and take the trade in front of you and see if we can make that happen. So give me a second while I switch. All right, cool. So I'm logged in. I'm ready to go. Obviously, we're not going to try to, I just, nope, can't even go short that many shares because they're like, hey, you're broke. You already lost money. Let's see. If we wanted to risk $150 to make $150, come on. I got to be able to short out at least 100, right? There's no way. Security not easy to borrow. And my broker is something wrong. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. But point being, I got to go to my Thinkorswim because that's where I trade options. For those of you at home, I'm working from another place. As you can see, this is not my typical background. Just because my power is out at my apartment, so I don't have my 4 screens. I've got, flowers here because I'm at a friend's place, so that's always nice. But anyway, if I were to try to take this trade, and if they would let me go ahead and take it, can I short at least 50 shares? That's kind of embarrassing. I genuinely don't know what's happening here. Okay, so it's just the fact that I was broke is what it was. No, they still won't let me take it. I got to call them and see what's going on. Let's move on. All right, NVIDIA. So we talked about that 938, and look at how it just kind of powered through it. Now, are we going to go ahead and have a retest? And then are we going to continue our way to the upside? So looking left, you had resistance, which we then now just broke. Are we going to continue this and move to the upside? I would love to get in at around, oh man, do I get in here? Here's what I'll do. What is this? Oh, look at that. Looks like they're having some issues. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to place these trades. I have no idea. Oh, I can buy it. I just can't short things apparently in life. Okay. So I'm in right now, 25 shares on NVIDIA. I'm risking $200. You can see exactly where my take profit is, which is right before the 950. And you can see exactly where my stop loss is. We're going to let this play tray out. Here's what I'm expecting. For this candle to come down around this 938. And then hopefully go ahead and come back up. Now the question becomes, hey, if you know or if you believe that's going to happen, why didn't you do it? Because I'm not patient. We talked about this. It's not something that I'm patient about whatsoever. Let's go ahead and take a look at something here. We were supposed to go ahead and have our interview with CING. Unfortunately, he's under the weather, and we weren't able to get him on because we want to make sure we have a great conversation. So with him being under the weather, we are hoping to go ahead and have him come back on Benzinga in just a couple of days. So hope he feels better. We'd love to have him on, and I know we're planning behind the scenes to have him talk to us here in the next coming days. So hopefully sometimes next week. So let's see what else we've got going on. All right, we broke that. Nah, that's not good enough for me. Honestly, you know what it is the fact that I was at a hotel this morning and now I'm at a friend's place. Like my rhythm and my routine is completely out of place. All right, Apple, here we go. So, I mean, we'll see. Like, I obviously haven't taken a short on it, but I am curious if we do go ahead and reject that and we come back to the 172s. And give me 1 second here. I know we have. Matter of fact, AT, if you can play some music, because I'm going to go get ready for our next guest. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to review my notes, but we've got someone from the Bear Cave who is short Hershey's. How can you go short on Hershey's? That's what we're going to talk about with them. I'm going to get ready for this interview. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. I just, got to get my tabs in order, get my questions in order, but don't go anywhere. We've got that coming up in about 12 minutes. I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. In the meantime, you guys can, maybe watch me make money or lose money on my NVIDIA long. Be right back. We'll talk about a couple of things. Appreciate your Fresh Mint. But Edwin, just give me a thumbs up whenever you are ready to go, and we will rock and roll. All right, folks, we're long NVIDIA. You see it on my charts, but we are also going to talk to Edwin, who is short. What is up, Edwin? It's so good to have you on the show, man. I've read your tweets so many times, so it's a great pleasure of mine to talk to you here in person. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I'm a huge Benzinga fan, so it's nice to be back on. We got a lot to talk about.
We sure do. And you know what, man? Look, I'm going to clear my schedule. We're going to have this conversation. It's going to be fun. But Hershey's, dude, I whenever I do camps, I have s'mores with Hershey's. I love, on my Bumble, it says the way to get to my heart is through a Hershey's cookies and cream, and you're short Hershey's. Why is this your largest large cap short idea?
Great question. And it's not about the products tasting bad. This is not about the taste of Hershey's. You know, it's really a single-pronged short thesis here. There's a new chocolate brand by this 25-year-old YouTube creator named Jimmy Donaldson who goes by Mr. Beast. And I think this chocolate brand is going to become incredibly, incredibly popular and so big that it starts to take share from Hershey's and materially impacts its sales. And it seems really odd because we've never really seen this happen before with a creator brand, but I think there's a lot of evidence that this new chocolate brand, Feastables, is already extremely popular, is going to get more and more popular, and soon a lot of kids and families, instead of buying a Hershey's bar or a Reese's peanut butter cup, is going to be buying chocolate and candy from the Mr. Beast brand, Feastables, and that's ultimately going to impact Hershey's sales and stock price.
There's two things that come to mind. They want to start them young. And what I mean by that is brands want to go ahead and get kids, I don't want to say addicted, but they want them to be well known with the brand associated with it so that as they get older, that's the brand they trust. Therefore, that's the brand that they buy. Hershey's, I feel like, is there right now with the Kisses and the products that they have with the s'mores aspect of it as well. The reason I bring that up, however, is Mr. Beast, obviously billions of views, right? I just talked the other day about how Mr. Beast has 55 plus YouTube channels in Portuguese and all around the thing. And now he's looking to take over views on the India side of things as well. So we're in this creator economy where folks trust influencers that they watch on TikTok, on YouTube, more so than they trust actors. So is that part of the thesis of yours where it's like, hey, people watch Mr. Beast, they love the burgers that they put out, even if they didn't like it for a long time? Because I know there was a scandal. I don't want to call it a scandal, but there was some bad news on that side. Is that part of your angle as well? Is that, hey, Mr. Beast is going to put out products that will continue where influencers just have consumers be ready for that?
Absolutely. So if you look at these big CPG companies, you're very right that they're kind of like advertising companies. It's getting a positive association with the name. And it used to be that the bigger you were, the more advantage you'd have because you'd have scale and you could buy a Super Bowl ad or do bigger and bigger things across all your brands. Now I think the nature of advertising is changing in a really big way where, you know, big brands don't really connect in the same way that people want to like invest in a person or an influencer. So Mr. Beast is like the quintessential example of that, of the nature of advertising is changing. Yeah. And people don't fully understand Mr. Beast's scale here. He gets about, across all different platforms, about 30 billion views a year. Okay. He's constantly pulling hundreds of millions of views on nearly every YouTube video he puts out. And the way he gets people to know about his brand isn't just by doing paid ads, which is kind of like what Hershey would do in a Super Bowl ad. He can promote the product very effectively in his video. And he doesn't just promote his products in his own videos. He also trashes Hershey. So something I wrote about in the Bear Caves article is he had a contestant on one of his shows. And he said for one of the, like, you know, contest, he said, you can win $100,000. You just need to tell me which is better, Feastables or Hershey's, and throw the worst one in a trash can. And so he has like 100 million, 150 million views on this video where a contestant's throwing a bad Hershey's bar into a trash can. And it's like no amount of advertising by Hershey can offset the negative brand damage there. So Mr. Beast is very popular in like the 10 to 25 demographic. And now every kid, at least kids who watch Mr. Beast, which are hundreds of millions, are going to say, wow, I just saw my idol throw a Hershey's bar in a trash can. I don't want Hershey's. That's no longer cool. I'm going to go with Feastables. Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of this in online reviews where parents are like, I used to buy a Reese's peanut butter cup, but now my kid wants the Feastables peanut butter bar. There's 7 different varieties of these Feastable bars. They just came out with a new formula that's very, very popular.
Yeah.
Perhaps most importantly here is a lot of times when people think of creator brands, they think, oh, it's small, it's tiny, there's no way it gets share. But just 2 years into creating Feastables, it's already gone from 0 to what I estimate is around 500 million a year in sales. It isn't as big as Hershey's 10 billions, but it's getting big fast to the point it's going to make a material impact.
And you also, I was looking at Hershey's chart. I believe they're about 27% off their highs. When it comes to Mr. Beast, they're partnered up with the Hornets as well. So I know that, his logo and branding is on the Charlotte Hornets basketball team's jerseys. And now you also got this new game that he's working, or the contestant game show that he's doing with Amazon. So that's a huge plus and bonus with the reach that Amazon can provide as well. Outside of Mr. Beast, what other reasons, if there are any, do you have to be short Hershey's? Because here's my play on that. Why can't Hershey's just go ahead and get another influencer that is almost as big and just kind of team them up together and promote it that way, right? So you have your Nick Merckx, you have your Kai Cenat, who's huge. They're obviously not as big as Mr. Beast worldwide, but in America, pretty big against a certain demographic. Why can't Hershey's just team up with influencers and go against Mr. Beast in that aspect of it?
So you asked two questions in that question. Let's go with the first part, which is there any other parts of the short thesis? For me, I'm really kind of singularly focused on Feastables. I'm confident Feastables is going to be a multi-billion-dollar chocolate business in the next few years. I'm confident that's going to take share from Hershey's and impact sales. What someone else might say, and I think there are additional headwinds, is like cocoa prices have tripled or so in the last year, and that's a big input cost for Hershey's. Another big headwind for Hershey's is these GLP-1 weight loss drugs, where people might be on Wegovy. When they lose weight, they also lose their appetite for unhealthy snacks. So that's going to be, a headwind. Another big headwind is Hershey's. The volume of Hershey's bar and Reese's peanut butter cup sold has been declining for years, like at 1 or 2% a year. And the way they've offset that is by increasing prices. They increase prices every year 5 to 7%. And you might have seen, if you go in a grocery store, the prices are getting more and more expensive for these chocolates. I think there's a limit to how much you can raise prices. And I think these are like kind of short-term games that like will lead to long-term losses, because once you alienate a consumer and price them out, they don't really come back. So that's another big problem for Hershey. So those would be all other angles that people focus on, but I'm really singularly focused on Feastables. Now to the idea of why doesn't Hershey's team up with an influencer? What a lot of people say is, why don't they just buy Feastables? Because that is kind of the common way these things play out. Even upstart brand,
his ego is not going to let him do it. There's no way.
He's not going to sell. He's 25 and young. He's doing this for a long time. He attacks Hershey's. The whole purpose of the Feastables brand is Mr. Beast had Crohn's disease and he wanted to make a healthier, better chocolate, that didn't use so many artificial ingredients. So like the whole purpose, the meaning behind it would be soiled if you sold the Feastables. Now, why doesn't Hershey team up with another influencer and release a product? We'll have to see. I kind of think Mr. Beast is singularly like influential, and he's, in my view, at least everlasting. He just keeps getting bigger. And a lot of people kind of ebb and flow and are kind of fads. Other influencers tend to get in scandals. Mr. Beast has been pretty scandal free. It wouldn't surprise me if Hershey's tries to like counter position, but so far we've seen like really nothing. And like one of my frustrations with Hershey's is they talk, if you listen to their conference calls, about innovation and pipeline. They make them seem like an innovative company, but their innovations are always like, what a weird product can we make with Reese's? Like Reese's use like peanut butter cups, pretzel, like combination. It's like after you do 50 of them, I mean, how much more innovation is there?
It's so crazy that you mentioned that. And I'll end the show on this note. I was telling the folks, I've lost power at a friend's place. In her pantry, she has Hershey's animal crackers something. And I'm like, yo, is this, I swear to God, I had to double check because I wasn't sure if it was Reese's peanut butter cup animal crackers as dog food or if it was for humans or not, just because the concept was wild to me, right? I still ate them. They were still good because, like you said, the thesis isn't because they taste bad. And I'll leave you this with this note. I told you on Bumble, I literally say the key to my heart is to get me Hershey's cookies and cream. And someone, women have to approach you first. Someone literally, and I kid you not, it's right here, I'm reading it. They said, Hershey's cookies and cream, you deserve better than that. So I don't know if they're short or not, but apparently they agree with you that there are better products out there. But Edwin, this was fun, man. I appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I think this is a big company. It's priced to perfection. And the big thing to take away is no one's pricing this in. No one on Wall Street is paying any attention to Feastables. So if this works, it'll really impact the stock because no one's talking about it. But awesome. I had a blast. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Next time you've got something, we'll definitely get you up. Thank you so much. That is Edwin Dorsey, the Bear Cave. Check out his Twitter. And, of course, you've got your Substack as well so folks could read exactly the analysis of why you have your convictions. Thank you so much for your time, pal.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care. I mean, I'm telling you, this was a perfect timing of how many people have told me they're not the fan of Hershey's. And then you have Mr. Beast that comes out with a new video about the new formula and about him saying, hey, Walmart is hiding my products in the back. And then you have the short report itself. So awesome. That was a lovely interview. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you to Zoltan for quickly spitting that up, because a short report just came out yesterday. And today we had him on. And this is what we love to do at Benzinga. Not only do we talk to executives, not only do we talk to investors like we did yesterday with Chris Ballard from Check Capital Management, but we also talk to folks that are short big companies, and we get you the insights that you guys want to hear about. But thank you so much. We'll be back next time, and stay safe. Enjoy the weekend.